Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and TikTok enjoyers, welcome back. Welcome back to episode 17 of the Dark Dimension TikTok Reactions, the series where I use it for a really easy way to advertise my stream on Twitch TV Technics channel where I stream every day, but also to actually just have fun and react to things because I actually like doing this. So, we're back once again, day 17, or not day 17, I guess issue number 17. So again, on the recording side of things, I am doing these back to back to back in terms of days. In terms of what you guys see, the audience, this pretty much changes nothing. But we are here to convince people also that we are living in the dark dimension because shit is fucked. Both economically and in every other facet that I don't really care to list out right now. But anyway, I have a lot of food with me. I got some yogurt, I got an egg, and I got some Chipotle, a day old. And I'm here to just eat, react, and have a great time, and it's a great way to stay in shape. So, as always, we are a good bit behind. But since we're doing these little power hour days of, just going through as many as we can, hopefully quickly, because I like to ramble, hopefully we're going to start getting caught up. So we're almost a month behind now. I'm hoping we're going to become a month behind. But we'll see. If not by today, maybe by tomorrow. But we'll see. But since we're so far behind, the issue that happens is I don't remember these things that I send myself. So as I watch them, maybe I'll remember them, or maybe they're so good I'll actually be able to just remember them off the rip. But it'll be a good experience for both of us because it's almost like a new thing in general for both of us. So let's start with this very old man that we often see, Professor Stonge, while I lick the yogurt off my cup. So anyway, let's begin.
New data from the New York Fed and the widely watched University of Michigan inflation survey suggest stagflation is on the way for the first time since the 1970s. First, the official data. On Friday, the New York Fed said its iconic recession model now shows a 68% chance of recession, which is up 10 points.
So this has to do a lot with the whole Fed defaulting and stuff, which again is pretty much done. Like the Fed default is over, as I keep saying in these past videos. But the main thing that ends up happening now is inflation. Are we having a recession? And I'll just come out and say this right now. I'll spoil the surprise because again, this was in May 14th. That essentially what the Fed has done, because I don't want to send myself any more fucking Federal Reserve videos if I don't have to, or anything relating to this, because I feel like I've beaten it to death almost. And that's basically that even the Federal Reserve can't deny that a recession is coming. A lot of people, including me, think we've already been in one and it's just going to get worse. And the Federal Reserve obviously doesn't want to say things as bad as they actually are to cause panic. But even they can't deny the fact that we are leading to a recession. So history repeats itself. 100 years ago, we were in a depression. Now we're in a recession. And I'm pretty sure we were in a recession right before we hit the depression, but we'll see. We'll see if history truly repeats itself. But let's keep watching Professor Stonge here while I keep looking the yogurt cup.
Points on the month.
Also, let me actually hold this song here too. This song's pretty good. Hold up. On Muskie. I want that to be the background to this little viewing here.
This is the highest level since the horrific 1982 recession that saw nearly 11% unemployment.
And another thing about unemployment that they're not going to tell you, and I actually learned this in school, ironically enough. School didn't teach me it, a really good teacher taught me it. And that's that the inflation numbers, and I've said this before, are false. Because you're only counted, or not inflation, sorry, unemployment. The unemployment numbers are false because you're only counted as unemployed for the first 6 months that you're trying to find a job. After that, you're not considered unemployed anymore, according to statistical purposes. So the number is a lot lower than what it actually is in reality. And everyone knows it, or at least the people who matter know it, and they don't want to say it because obviously, again, public panic.
The worst since the Great Depression, and that lasted 3 long years.
Oh, lovely.
Note, we have had 3 actual recessions since 1982 that did not even hit today's level on the Fed model.
Amazing.
Meanwhile, new numbers from the University of Michigan show Americans are losing faith that the Fed can actually control inflation.
And spoiler alert, they can't. Well, they kind of can, but it's harder than they thought. there was literally a Federal Reserve meeting like in the past couple days. I don't remember when. It might have been today or yesterday or the day before. And literally what they said is, yeah, we're trying to fight it, but as we can see and as every like accountant has like seen, like it's just been like beating us and we've been surprised at like every corner. They're surprised the stock market is up. They're surprised that like people are still spending as much as they are. They're surprised at everything. Where I question, that's just another way of saying, hey, we were wrong, but we don't want to get fired for it.
As expectations for the next 5 years inflation jump to 3.2%. That is the highest in 15 years. Note it is even higher than during last year's raging inflation that ultimately hit 8.5%.
Jesus.
In other words, the public gave the Fed the benefit of the doubt last year,
Oh.
but now they are losing faith that the Fed remains in control.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
starting
so
to
am I,
bake in
honestly.
higher inflation into the future. And keep in mind, this is after the most aggressive Fed rate hikes in 50 years, hikes that have already crashed banks with more to come.
Okay, so before Professor Stone keeps shitting on reality here for us, one thing I have to question is, and I said this last time, I've at this point I've said 90% of the things I've said before in some other video, but why does it always have to be when like it's our time? Like, I don't know why all things are like, I guess, condensed into a certain time period, but I feel like really just like the universe is fucking us, right? At this specific time, so many groundbreaking things are happening, yeah, but so many really bad things that again haven't happened in like quote unquote 50 years are happening, and it's happening to us when it could possibly be the worst time. And when I say us, I mean my generation, the Gen Zers. Because like, bro, we're just growing up, we're just starting to get like our feet wet, in the workforce and everything like that. We're trying to find our way, and when we're the most vulnerable is when life is being the worst for everyone, but it's hitting us the hardest. It's like, what the fuck?
Put it all together, and the data is saying we have got historic odds of a severe recession paired with the worst inflation since the 1970s, plus, as an added bonus, a 2008 style banking crisis. As
Amazing.
Joe Biden says,
look at how terrible
economy is
this
strong as
is.
hell.
Yeah,
So
Joe Biden's
why
line,
is
just like the
stagflation
Fed.
happening? The inflation part is easy. The Fed and bankers printed $6 trillion in fresh money,
Oh,
most of which
yes.
went to finance $7 trillion in federal deficits, to
Oh,
buy
lovely.
lockdowns, and to feed hungry activists and crony capitalists.
I hate this shit so much. Like, Professor Stone is really condensing it all into like one convenient thing. Like, bro, most of the money that's being printed is already going back to the rich anyway. What the fuck?
The good news is this is very easy to fix, at least in theory. Just stop printing
Oh.
money, meaning
You know what else is good in theory? Communism.
the Fed stops buying stuff by typing zeros in spreadsheets and using that imaginary money to buy everything in sight. Then stop yanking rates down to zero every time the economy tries to clear out the dead wood, which gives us a Japanese-style zombie economy and tees up the next inflation recession cycle.
You know, it's ironic too. I've been hearing Japan's economy is so bad, and while I was lounging around at work pretending to like do work, I joke, I do a lot of work at work. But while I was pretending to be doing work at my job, I saw an article on the little Windows like notifications thing about Japan and how like they have a whole lost generation that has just consistently been even worse than us, believe it or not, with their economy. Like their economy is straight fucking them for like 20 plus years or something. And it's like, bruh, I feel so bad for them.
To bail out. The simplest, of course, is just end the Fed. As for the recession, some of that comes from the money printing, that inflation recession cycle where easy money from low rates feeds a bunch of crap businesses from WeWork to Dogecoin, and then tighter money wipes them out in a cluster. The rest of it comes from ongoing hits from regulation, ratcheting up taxes, which screw producers, wipe out entrepreneurs, or scare them off in the first place, and that chase entire industries out of the country to places like China or Mexico.
Oh, we like China, we like China.
So what happens next? Unless U.S. policy takes a 180, which it won't, the ship
Definitely it
is
won't.
headed for the stagflation iceberg. That would mean continued inflation, continued falling wages like we've seen these past 2 years, paired with mass layoffs and soaring bankruptcies.
So basically, everything is just gonna get worse. Like everyone keeps saying, that's not the government.
For regular Americans, the key is number one, protect your savings. So diversify into inflation hedges like gold, build up a cash reserve. You always want cash in a recession, even in an inflationary recession. And number two, protect your income. So build skills, nurture your
Chipotle going
network.
crazy.
If you like your job, work hard to make sure you're indispensable.
Nah, fuck that shit. Quiet quit.
And if you like your business, keep the shoulder to the wheel. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Okay, Professor Stones, thank you. So, some things I want to say. Obviously, Professor Stones, and not only him, I'm going to say this even about someone I hold very dear to my heart, which is Clear Value Tax on YouTube. Both Professor Stones and Clear Value Tax, they're obviously, I don't know if they're accountants per se. I mean, I know Clear Value Tax Brian is. Professor Stones, I'm not too sure of his background, but they both seem like very learned men. And obviously, Professor Stones is a professor, and he has a PhD, as we could see in his little title here in the top right. So, he's definitely a very learned man. Now, one thing I question is they often have like these suggestions saying like, oh, he said get rid of the Fed, get rid of the Federal Reserve. I'm not going to act like I know enough to say if that's good or bad. I honestly don't. However, what I'm noticing with Professor Stones here and with Clear Value Tax on YouTube is that they often like have criticisms, but I really wonder if they're going to like put the pedal to the metal, excuse me, and actually try and do anything. And number two, like if they want to, or if they're just saying to say it, like to complain, or if they're saying it because of an ulterior motive. And what do I mean by that? Usually, a lot of the times when someone says, oh, they're doing this when they should do that, get rid of this, do that, this is what's right. Usually, eventually, they start running for office and replace office with like, any position of power. But I wouldn't be surprised personally, because people have said now for Clear Value Tax Brian, I don't think he's going to do it personally, but for both of them, honestly, I could also see a realm where both Clear Value Tax Brian and Professor Stonge run for like a seat on like the Federal Reserve or something, because I feel like they think they know what they could do it better, and two, I believe it. Like they definitely see like they could fix stuff. Obviously, maybe they don't know the full thing because there's bureaucracy involved, there's corruption. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. But very interesting. Like I'd be wondering, right, if Professor Stonge uses these videos to gain influence to eventually one day maybe run for a seat there, and he could like have votes from his like social media presence. I'm definitely interested. And the last thing I want to go over here in this video is look at the comments, bro. They're just shitting on the government. We did it, Joe. It will only be transitory, because they kept saying it's transitory, it's transitory. And again, Brian from Clear Value Tax on YouTube said like this is a load of horse shit. And lo and behold, he was right, because he knows what he's talking about. But yeah, thank you, Professor Stones. Let's go to the next one. The economy is fucked. Great. And we knew this since May 14th. Even better.
We've now committed $113 billion to the Ukraine.
I believe this guy, actually, so this is ironic, right? I think I sent myself a video, or I saw a video of this guy recently. And I didn't know he was a government official, because I forgot I sent this to myself in the past. But essentially, I believe this guy's running for president now too. But the video I saw of him recently was him going like outside to the homeless and like I think interacting with them, feeding them and shit. And obviously, they're doing that for image, because again, he is running for president, just like I said before. Brian and Professor Stonge might do, not for president, but for any position of power, where you're gonna obviously do stuff to make it visually that you look better. But I've seen this guy before recently, which is ironic. I forgot I sent myself this guy before.
Ukraine. For reference, the entire budget of EPA is $12 billion. The budget of CDC is $11 billion.
Ah, yes.
We have 57% of Americans. We have a crisis here.
Oh, we have many.
We have a war on the poor.
Yeah, that's
57% of Americans cannot put their hand on $1,000 if they have an emergency.
That's sad.
Yeah, and not only is that sad, that's not even the right number. It's higher than that.
1/4 of Americans go to bed hungry.
Oh, that's really sad. I said that as I eat my fucking fat ass Chipotle right now.
We have 1.5 million veterans who are living below the poverty line.
That's, I think, one of the worst things. The fact that you can serve this country, fight for it, agree to die for it, and you can come back home and be in poverty. Now, I'm not saying take care of them like they're babies, right? Like, don't, cover their finances, don't, like, cover stupidness, but I honestly just don't think they get enough, because then the question is like, oh, did they put themselves in that situation? Are they buying drugs? Are they spending stupid? Yeah, some of them probably are. But most of them probably just don't make enough money to live because the cost is outrageous of living.
We have 33,000 veterans who are homeless.
Oh my
We
God.
have 23 veterans a day who are killing themselves.
Oh, I knew he was going to go
War of
there.
the poor is a blood war.
Yeah, he's not lying.
This shit's sad, man.
We've now
But anyway, yeah, so here's I forgot who this guy is, and I guess they didn't say his name. But or maybe he's a Kennedy. I'm seeing like a lot of Kennedys in the chat here. But yeah, he's just kind of compiling it all of how things are fucked for us, taking the statistics, which again are probably not accurate in the sense that they're too low. But thank you very much, potentially, Mr. Kennedy. Let's go next.
This is the best video I've ever seen on what's wrong with American politics and what we need to do about it. If you haven't seen it before, please watch it. If you have seen it before, make sure you share it. I took the time to reformat it specifically for TikTok. Please check it out.
Okay, this thing is like 6.5 minutes, so by Chris Allen logic, that might be like double that at least, because I like to explain shit. But let's see, because I'm really enjoying this Chipotle right now.
America's political system has been hijacked.
Oh, I love this guy. This guy's voice is amazing. I think this guy voices like famous people or like famous things.
To ensure those with power keep it.
If you look at American politics and think everything is fine, this video is not for you.
I swear to God, I've heard this guy's voice before. Like, I don't know in what, but I know this guy has a famous voice.
The rest of us, things seem pretty broken.
Yeah, not to the rest of us, to most of us. I feel like if you don't think America has a problem here, you're probably very privileged or very shielded and in a lucky spot. And, I'm not saying that's a bad thing to be in. I'm just saying that's the reality of what it is. If you do not think things are fucked, you're like doing, you're lucky or you're doing really good for yourself.
Our forefathers created a beautiful system, and we live in a magical country.
How the hell did things get so bad? These days, just 2% of Americans trust that our elections work how they're supposed to.
See, that's a realistic number, I would say. I don't know if it's, backed up by facts, but that just sounds realistic, because ever since the 80s or the 70s, I believe in the 70s or 80s, there was like 60 or 70-ish% of belief in our government to do what's right for us. I think that shit tanked down to like in the 2010s or 2020s to like 30 something percent. I think it like over halved, or like it got halved essentially, the people's like overall trust in the government. So for specifically trusting an elected official to like be elected properly or fairly, for that to be 2%, that sounds realistic.
Congress has an approval rating of 20%.
America's political system has been hijacked to ensure those with power keep it. And for the rest of us, well, it's not so good.
This
Didn't he
Venn
just say
diagram
that?
shows the relationship between an elected official doing what the people want and their likelihood of getting reelected. In Harvard Business School report by Professor Michael Porter and Catherine Gale found virtually no correlation between serving the will of the people and getting reelected.
So, I'm actually going to relate this back to video games. So, there's something that a very famous person said about video games where the game could be complete shit, it could piss on its players, it could spit on them, but it's just 1 3-minute cinematic away from people loving it again. And I feel like that's the same thing for like getting elected. You could promise all sort of stuff, right? But when you get elected, you could do none of it. And then as long as you just do something good that looks good for the people, like most people don't care. And I guess that's just like human psychology. Well, they'll ignore all the bad and they'll just revote for you if you like can present yourself well again, even if you did nothing of what you originally promised. Because then there's all the tactics that I've listed before in other videos where it's like, oh, blame your enemy for what you're doing. Excuse me. Yeah, blame your enemy for what you're actually doing. And then just gaslight, lie, and, Trump is really good at these things, but just do like a lot of bullshit to just like dance around the topic and just ignore it. And, for some people that won't work, but the some people that it won't work for are definitely in the minority. Let's keep going.
In other words, if our elected leaders do their jobs, they're more likely to lose their jobs.
That's
The
sad.
report blames it on two privately held gain-seeking organizations.
Lobbying.
America's two major political parties. 2019, both major parties publicly threatened to blacklist candidates and contractors who veered from the party lines.
So this is one thing that I understood at first, but the more I understood, the more I realized they're not like what they're trying to be. So I've said this before, as always, that I don't understand the political system in the US in terms of like reality, right? Like, obviously it works the way it does because people allow it to, and that's just, everyone kind of submissively or subconsciously agrees to do it. But what I've noticed is, okay, you have the Democrats and the Republicans, right? And again, I know very little about what each actually stands for, but the way that I was going to understand it, the way that I was brought up to understand it was, okay, the Democrats hold this certain set of ideals and the Republicans hold this certain set of ideals. And then I questioned, like, oh, then why is there infighting? If they hold the ideals, how could they be Democrat? Oh, well, people could have different opinions. Oh, well, if they have different opinions, what if, they don't want to be Democrat? Oh, well, you have to be. So you have to be within the party to gain the party's support, but you don't necessarily have to support the party. You're just basically taking the banner name. And I always thought this was kind of stupid, where it's like, okay, if you join the party, do you have to do what the party believes in? Oh, no, you don't. But then what's the point of joining the party? At that point, there should be different parties, not two major ones, a lot of different ones. But, the two parties agree enough to basically bar and black out all the other parties and stuff, because as we're looking at here, this is what this guy's saying. And I never understood. And the biggest thing I think that's bullshit with these parties, it's become a battle between the two to one-up each other, not to help the people. So, and not only to, one-up each other, but to help themselves. So a government official is supposed to serve the people, right? And granted, they are the people too, right? They're government officials, but they're in a higher position where they should put others' needs above themselves, aka the general public. Now, what ends up happening is, again, they just try and fight the opposite side and one-up them. Like, oh, you want this? Well, I want that. I'm against you. I want to win no matter what, right? Which is why we almost defaulted because of the Republicans. Or the Democrats, based on how you view it. Again, I don't want to choose sides here. But the other thing is they're also just greedy and they want to line their own pockets, which is why there's insider trading on both sides, which is both bad.
They control the money, the debates, the primaries. They even draw their own voting districts.
Oh.
A full 61% of Americans want another option. But any third party or independent who runs is seen as a spoiler. So year after year, we choose between the lesser of two evils, Democrats, Republicans, Republicans, Democrats. In any other environment, a new competitor
hold up. Nah. All right, cool. I actually started this early enough because I got through a lot of shit in my day to do this before my grandparents went to sleep. So I might have to say that one more time, but we'll see. Anyway, let's keep going.
Swoop in to better serve their constituency. You hate your cable company? Here comes streaming. But the two parties have rigged the system to block competition.
And you know what's crazy about this? There's the illusion of choice, I think, in America, at least right now. Oh, you could choose your cable company, right? This one's not giving you a good deal, go to the other one. They're all pretty much kind of the same anyway. Obviously, there's the cheaper ones, there's the more expensive ones, but it's within the same range, where it hurts the poor people, it doesn't matter for the rich people. But one thing I've noticed is, again, as we've seen on this series, everything is owned by like the same 8 people anyway at the top. So is there really a choice if it's all going to the same pocket in the end? I don't get it.
But it gets worse.
Oh, of course, it always gets worse.
Races, we now know which party will win the general election before it even starts.
Wow.
That means all of the competition is in the primaries, where as few as 14% of voters participate.
Ah, yes.
Primary voters tend to be more partisan than
I have no
those
clue
who
what
vote
that means.
in the general election. So the most partisan candidates win the primary. They're virtually guaranteed to win the general, so you can guess what happens next.
Oh.
Over time, the parties move further and further apart. Congress is so gridlocked they can't even pass the most basic laws to improve the lives of everyday Americans.
And that is a big fact, because look how close we got to freaking defaulting. This guy is speaking big facts right now.
For the first time since the Great Depression,
Oh.
life expectancy in the U.S. is actually going down while it goes up in the rest of the world.
Okay, this is actually insane. Again, right? I mentioned it in this episode. I mentioned history is repeating itself. 100 years ago, we're going through a lot of similar things that are happening now. So not only is it the economy is going to shambles, but number two, it's that the birth rates are declining just like they were 100 years ago.
We need to take our government back and make it work for us. So much of
Violently.
what's failing is a
We need to do
symptom
this
of our
violently.
failed elections. This isn't about giving power to the right or to the left or asking Congress to fix itself, because frankly, they won't.
Yeah, they're
We have
not
to go
going to.
around Congress. And the good news is, in the U.S., states run elections, even federal elections.
What?
So when we pass election laws in a state, it affects the federal elections. And get this, a Bloomberg News study showed that throughout American history, passing state laws has been the key to creating massive federal change.
Oh,
And
shit.
the law we need to pass, it's called the American Anti-Corruption Act. It fixes the system.
Yeah, just like the Inflation Reduction Act that didn't really help inflation reduction, it just made people more rich. Is that the thing we're passing? Now, I don't want to like take shots at this guy, but you know, I don't know who this is, and as far as I'm concerned, you have to prove to me you're not like the other people, which are all corrupt.
So government can work for you and your family, not just a handful of special interests and political insiders. Here's how it works.
Facts.
We have independent commissions draw voting districts.
Mm-hmm.
We make it illegal for lobbyists to donate to politicians.
Okay, I'm already on board. Lobbying should deadass be illegal. Lobbying and insider trading are again the two biggest things that people know about, and they're just allowed. Like, oh, you're allowed to bribe your government to pass certain rules if you're rich. Everyone knows it, and it just keeps going. And I don't know how. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, imagine on those little baby toys, right? You have a little baby toy where, like, you put the shapes in. You see the square, and you try and put it in the circle. And it's not going in the circle. But you keep trying to force it through. And, you know, if someone were to see you, they'd be like, why are you doing that? That's stupid. That's how I feel like our government operates. Our government is essentially, with all the corruption and stuff that people know about, is operating. And us doing nothing is like us, you know, just like watching the fucking like square trying to go into the circle. It's like, it's not working, but why do we keep doing it? Why do we keep letting this happen? It does not make any sense to me whatsoever. Now, granted, I say that, but I'm not going to go down to DC and start, you know, demanding or threatening or arguing because, you know, how can one person change these things? But it's just ridiculous.
We give every voter a $100 tax credit that they can use to support the candidate of their choice. We put reasonable term limits on elected officials.
That is a big fact because, as we've mentioned in the previous episode and many more, look at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court now, as we're seeing, isn't as supreme as they thought because they're corruptible. They can be bought out by billionaire Republicans, and their term limits are essentially life. Unless something really, really serious happens, they're there for life. If you are holding any position for life, I very much question like if that's okay. Because people, and I think everyone is subjected to this. I think if you don't think this way, or if you don't think this is true, I think you're just objectively wrong, honestly. And that is that over time, people change. For better or for worse, no matter what, people will change over time. So the person you put in office, or the person you put in the Supreme Court, for example, in the beginning, is not the same person and does not share the same beliefs or ideals as the person there at this current time, because people change over time. And the times change too. We need fresh blood, we need new ideas, and we need people to be cycled out, because again, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So like, these people staying in there forever with no reason to go above and beyond unless they have the moral inclination to, which they obviously don't. I mean, again, look at all the bribery going on. It's like, bruh, why would they do their job, or why would they be scared of actually doing good? Because there's no fear of being let go or being fired, and they make so much money anyway. Like, it's ridiculous.
We implement ranked choice voting to allow independents and third parties to run without spoiling elections.
So this is actually something that I've actually seen recently. Ironically enough, I was in the dentist office today. I took off from work today, which is why we're doing so many recordings of this, of TikTok. But I was in the dentist office today, and while I was in the chair waiting for the cleaner to come in, I was looking at the news, which is something I haven't done in like forever, on television. On TikTok, I see it a lot, but on television. I haven't seen the news in forever. Excuse me. And they were talking about the election, and they were talking about ranked choice voting. Now, granted, I've barely voted in all my life. I voted a couple times, and I don't remember ever hearing or seeing about ranked choice voting. So I think this is a new thing that actually is like becoming a reality.
And finally, we enact secure, automatic voter registration and vote from home ballots. So now you've got more people voting, and it's easier to vote. This is common sense stuff. It creates a Congress that's more responsive to the people and can finally get stuff done. We've pulled this law, and it's incredibly popular across party line. All we have to do is pass them in states across the country. How do we do that?
Aha! Thank you, Josh. That brings us to this.
Wait, I know who this guy is. This is the guy from Ant-Man, I think. I'm almost positive this is the guy from Ant-Man. Hold on, I gotta see. We're gonna do this like on the video. I'm not editing this out. Ant-Man actors: Paul Rudd, Corey Stoll. Oh fuck! Oh god, let me look at the cast. Hold on. Yeah, Michael Douglas. He's literally Michael Douglas. That's the same dude. Dude, I love Michael Douglas. I love this guy's voice. This guy's voice is so good.
Simple pie chart. It shows the percentage of a population required to create real and lasting change.
See, this is what I like, and this is something that another big actor has done too. Excuse me. It's oh god, what the fuck is his name? It's the guy who like all men think like look good, except Auntie. It's the guy who was in Free Guy. Ironic. Not Paul Rudd, because Paul Rudd is Ant-Man, like we just saw. Oh my god, what the fuck is it? I'm gonna look this up too. Fuck it. Free Guy. Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is also like, you know, he's known as a movie actor. He's known as a performer, right? But Ryan Reynolds, one of the major things he's done recently is he started his own like phone company or his own like telecom company. Well, I don't know if it's his, but he has like his own business company now that offers like cheap, affordable, quote unquote, you know, cell phone plans and stuff. Ryan Reynolds, phone. Let me type this in. Here we go. Phone company. Yeah, Mint Mobile. So he's now an owner. So he wasn't an owner before, but I guess he's now an owner. And like he is like a face of the company. Like he does the ads and everything, and like getting movie people like involved in this stuff. And the main way Ryan Reynolds advertises it is, hey, you know, phone bills and everything is way too expensive. Here's an affordable, like decent option for you guys because, you know, I'm a movie star, I'm rich, I want to help people because they're not rich. Like, you know, they try and level with you a little bit. And it's like this guy, right? Fuck, I forgot his name too. Let me look up his name again. This actor here, Michael Douglas, he's basically saying like all that's bad with the country because a lot of the times these rich people don't give a rat's ass because they're rich. I think the biggest thing to show you're a nice person when you're rich is to care about the problems that you don't suffer through, but you know society is suffering through. And, you know, the same way that Michael Douglas, I keep forgetting his name, Michael Douglas is doing it, I think like a lot more famous people should be involved. This is how I know I think Michael Douglas is a good guy, unless he got paid for this. Well, obviously he's probably getting paid for this, but I wonder if they reached out to him or if he wanted to do this himself. It could be the case where he's literally just being an actor here too, where he's just like reading the script they gave him and he actually doesn't give a shit. But at the end of the day, he could have denied the role, but he decided to do it, and just doing it puts a sort of target on your back against the current regime's leaders, I would say. So either way, thumbs up from me. Thumbs up for me for Michael Douglas. I don't know why I keep forgetting his name when I just saw it, but anyway.
Change. Researchers looked at movements from all over the world and found that when 3.5% of a population actively engages in fighting for change, they win every single time. In America, 3.5% is 11 million people. And it needs to be conservatives, progressives, and independents together. America is roughly divided into thirds. That means no one group has the power to do it alone.
Yes.
Here's the best part.
Just like in the revolution.
Are already involved in the movement, and together they've already racked up more than 100 victories in cities and states across America.
Yes.
We need millions more, and that's why I'm talking to you. Here's what I need.
See, again, I question, like, is this really Michael Douglas's opinion, or did they pay him to say this? I really hope it's Michael Douglas's opinion, but I really think like they probably paid him.
You to do right now. Go to represent.us
Oh.
and sign up to be part of the next anti-corruption victory in your state.
Whoa.
There are already people near you fighting, and they need your help.
No
Join
way.
the Commonwealth, a community of people giving whatever amount they can every month to support local
God,
anti-corruption.
they're asking for money. No. I mean, honestly, you know, it makes sense. They need money, right? But, you know, you need money to fight money. But God, man, I have no money to give.
Campaigns. Every single dollar goes to the front lines of the fight, not to overhead or organizational expenses.
See, this is where I question, because I've heard this line before, and I don't mean to, like, you know, discredit or disvalue what they're trying to do here, but I'm just saying, like, you need to make it very apparent, both, like, accounting-wise and just, like, public-wise, that the money is really going to where it says it's going, because there's too many times where people have said the same thing, and the money secretly went to, like, the CEOs and stuff. I mean, a lot of the, religious organizations, right, or religious talk show hosts, they always say, like, oh, you know, donate to me, donate to the church, this and that, but the people in the church are fucking rich, right? And why is that? Because they're siphoning money out of it. Like, again, look at almost any, like, religious talk show host, you know, specifically for Christianity. You'll see, like, they have mansions for houses, and their, you know, their job is just to be, like, a radio host or whatever. And it's like, bruh, where are you getting all this money from? Did God give you that? And that's what they'll argue. They'll be like, oh, God gave me this. No, the people who you're convincing to give you money gave you this.
All I'm asking is that everyone who watches this video needs to do something.
Yes, that is true.
Do something. Because you can be damn sure if you do nothing, nothing is going to change.
That's not true necessarily. It's not that nothing is going to change. It's that the people who are doing something are going to change it into what they want, which could be better or worse for you depending on where you lie. But things will never stay the same. Things will always change.
I'm here to tell you that your voice does matter.
Oh, thank you.
Join us.
Okay, that was a good ad. That was a really good ad. All right, let's actually, since we're just like going off TikTok anyway, let's go to represent.us here. Represent.us. I like how it said review. Let's check out the review too. Let's see if this is bullshit or not. Represent US reviews. Let's look at it on Glassdoor. Oh, never mind. We can't look at it on Glassdoor. Thank you, Glassdoor. Okay. Represent US is a nonpartisan, non-profit organization focused on ending political corruption. They actually have a Wikipedia thing. And it was founded in 2012. Holy shit. Okay, I'm not going to read all this for the video, but here we go. If politicians won't fix government, we will join us. So here you guys can check it out. Oh my god. Breaking America's Healthcare. So starring Sia. Oh shit. I barely know Sia, but I know she's famous. But this is pretty interesting. So it looks like they're still alive and well. And it looks like they are trying to fight for change, which is pretty good. And I just wanted to show this off on the stream because this is one of the rays of hope to get us out of the light dimension, potentially. Again, I'm not vetting this out perfectly. They could definitely be corrupt, I don't know. But as far as I could see from the initial look, they look all right, I guess. But yeah, represent.us. Thank you. God damn it, what was his name? Thank you, Michael Douglas. So one day I'll remember it. Anyway, thank you, Michael Douglas. Let's go next.
The banks are...
and would you look who it is? Would you look who it fucking is? It is Clear Value Tax Brian, the person who before we compared to Professor Stonge. What a perfect little segue. Now everyone can experience Brian. I'm heavily biased. I will straight out admit it. I'm heavily biased towards Brian. I think this guy is near like, not a saint. I don't want to glorify him and put him on a imaginary pedestal. But oh my god, he is such a nice guy, and I really do feel like what he says is true, where he just wants all of us to make it and like be good for ourselves. His main driving factor, and I think this is true for a lot of people, where there's actually two things here. So number one, I don't know if the first one applies to Brian, but in general, people who are kind and who understand kindness, unfortunately, are the people who have had it taken away from them, or, you know, who grew up not having it, right? If you grew up in a rough childhood, or if you grew up like, you know, not so well, you understand the value of kindness more, because you didn't have it. And I feel like kind people are usually the ones who have gone through some shit. And it's sad that, like, there needs to be suffering for there to be kindness afterward. Like, someone needs to suffer for them to be kind. Because I guess naturally we just, you know, are dickheads, we're evil. I mean, you know, that's my belief. But, you know, I think that number two, which is what happened in Brian's case, is if other people help you, you're more likely to help other people because it's altruism. Altruism is somewhat baked into us as, like, humans psychologically. Not fully. Some of us don't have altruism, some of us are leeches, but some of us really do have altruism, and I feel like that's the case with Brian, where he says himself, and ironically enough, I watched this video today from Brian, where he said, like, the reason he's doing this, right, is because he wants to help people, because people have helped him in really crucial moments, right? People helped him that didn't need to help him, but because they gave him a guiding hand, he was able to, like, become a multi-millionaire. He was able to set himself up and be good. And he wants to give back and do that for someone else now. And what better way to do it than to do it to, like, almost 2 million people on YouTube? So, you know, he's a really nice guy. Like, I really, really like Brian. Now, granted, I don't agree with everything he says, and obviously we're different people, we have different opinions, but overall, I very, very respect him. And now let's hear what Brian has to say to us for the whole 6 minutes.
They're getting rich.
While you might Chipotle.
Well, better put, the banks are getting richer.
Oh,
and they're keeping homeowners poor. Oh. It's always been like this, but the situation is getting worse with higher mortgage interest rates. I'm going to show you.
What he said there is just again, it's the defining things of our times. I think this is going to be the title for the video. You know, it's always been like this, but it's getting worse. I really hope to remember to make that the title. Like, that is just the defining quote of our time. Yeah, it's always been bad, but now it's worse.
I'm going to show you exactly what is going on.
What the fuck?
So basically, the banks and lenders are financially enslaving new homeowners with higher mortgage interest rates.
So this is one of the arguments that's made in the States. And, well, I don't know if it's just in the States, but one of the arguments that's made is there are certain things that shouldn't be profited off of because it creates a really bad incentive for people to take advantage, be corrupt, and it's just morally wrong. Now, one of those arguments is for water. Another one of those arguments is for housing. Those are two things you pretty much need. One, obviously, you need more than the other. I think you need water more than almost anything in life. But after water, you pretty much need housing to live a good life, or any decent life where you live moderately long, because without shelter, you're kind of just fucked. You'll live, but not for that long. And the fact that, like, shelter has become commodified, it's become business-like-ified, it's not good, because now look at the problem. Rent increases are at a, like, crazy high. People can't afford rent. They can't even afford food and rent, let alone just rent. So it's like everything is, like, going bad with this stuff. And this is where Brian might describe, I don't remember specifically what he says here, but mortgages are one of the most evil things I think there is. There's 3 trifectas of things I think are just the heart of evil. Like, they're from the gates of hell itself. Credit card debt, mortgages, and student loans. Because the fucking interest rate that is on all of those will slave you up. Most people, not everyone, most people will get slaved up for life. For life, they will be indebted to the shit to where, even for mortgages specifically, you will pay more in the interest payments to the mortgage than you will for the principal. For those of you who aren't into accounting or stuff like that, what does this basically mean? Imagine you have to pay $500,000 for a house, and you take out a mortgage. The house costs $500,000, but on the interest for the loan of the $500,000, you're going to end up paying over $500,000 just on the interest for the loan of the $500,000. So if you bought the house outright, if you had all the money outright, you would buy for $500K. But by taking out the mortgage, overall, you're probably spending over $1 million total on the mortgage for the house, which is including the price of the house itself. So you're essentially paying for, like, over double the actual price because the interest is so ridiculous. It's fucking disgusting.
So today's video, it's a wake-up call for you. I'm going to show you something you might not like what you see.
Oh.
I just want you to know that you did nothing wrong. The most important thing that you can do
most of us did nothing wrong
right now is to understand the situation so that you can start building your wealth instead of making the banks and the lenders rich.
Yes, Brian, yes.
Because they're getting rich and they're keeping everyday Americans poor. That's the reality.
It's so sad.
So let's run this scenario in a mortgage calculator. You can use any calculator.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna show us how ridiculous mortgage payments are. Oh my god, this is so important.
Use
Holy
bank
shit.
rates. The median sale price of a home in the U.S. is about $400,000. So we're gonna use that. First-time home buyers, they put down about 6%. Repeat buyers put down about 13%.
Jesus Christ.
So let's just use something in between. We're going to go with 10%. The 30-year fixed mortgage interest rate has been floating around 6 to 7% for the past 7 months.
And this is highly elevated because of the Fed rate hikes. But I'll tell you right now, it's about like 8%-ish from what I saw today.
So we're going to use
I think
6.5% as the rate in this example.
So again, he's using something lower than what it actually is, just like the government.
With these variables, your monthly mortgage payments would be $2,275.
Oh wow, what a coinky dink. Kind of like the average price of rent in the Bronx. You know, let's actually check up on that. Average price for rent in the Bronx. I have a fucking cantaloupe in my mouth too, in case I sound like muffled a little bit. Alright, so average rent in the Bronx. $2,125. Average. It could go above that, it could go below that. And I wouldn't be surprised. That's for one bedroom. And how much are we paying here? $2,275. So this is where Auntie made a really good argument to me. And I never really fully realized it until now. Where, why would you pay that much in rent, right? When you can own a house and just pay what you would have paid in rent to the mortgage. Granted, mortgages are still evil, like I said, but at that point, you have more options because you actually, well, you don't own it yet, but you're paying off a house, which is a way better thing to own than paying off an apartment, which you're never going to own no matter what. Like, imagine staying 30 years in a house versus an apartment, and you're paying equal amounts to the monthly payment. With the apartment, you could get evicted any time. With the house, it's a little bit of a longer process, but the government can eventually evict you. The bank can take over the house. But again, it's a longer process, giving you more options, and you can eventually sell the house to make a profit. So it just makes sense. Why would you rent when you could use that money to buy a house? It just doesn't make sense. And like, I have to give props where they're due. Auntie like said this to me, and it like blew my mind. But then again, there's more that goes into it, because, you know, where can you find a house for that much? You have to have a down payment, which is the big like limiting factor for a lot of people. And then, you know, what's the area like? And then a house comes with a whole range of like difficulties and stuff and responsibilities that maybe people don't want, and they just want an apartment. So, you know, there's different reasons all around. But overall, I don't think a lot of people realize, if you're going to be paying this much in rent, just buy a house anyway with a mortgage and then just pay this. Again, it's terrible to get a mortgage, but that's the way things are. Even though I hate saying that, because that's just like an excuse to have things keep going the way they are, which I don't think they should. But, you know, it's true. This is the majority of how things are in reality.
This does not include property taxes, homeowners insurance, PMI, or HOA fees.
Yep, look at all those shits.
Now, this is what I want to show you. It's the amortization table. This gives you a breakdown of how much of your payment goes towards interest and principal.
So principal, again, for those who don't know, is the original amount that the thing costs. So again, in my example, let's say you're buying a $500,000 house. The principal is the $500,000 which the house costs, and the interest is any interest you're paying on the $500,000 loan they're giving you.
Okay, so here it is. This is the amort table. Let's just say that your loan starts in May and your first mortgage payments begins in June. So look at your monthly mortgage payments. You are paying $2,275, and only $325 is going towards paying down the principal. $1,950 is for paying interest. So that's 85.7% of your payment for interest, making the banks and the lenders rich at your expense. So look for yourself. Every month, it doesn't get much better.
Oh my God.
Each month, the interest, well, take a look for yourself. It's only going down by $2 a month. But you know what's crazy?
Wow.
Or what's even crazier? If you go 10 years into this loan, you're still paying interest of over $1,600 a month. So let me ask you, how old are you going to be in 10 years? How much older are you going to be in 10 years? Well, at that time, you're still going to be paying down this loan, and 73% of what you pay will still be going towards interest.
Bruh.
Okay, so the banks and the lenders, they love this. They love this situation. How could they not?
And who sets, remember this, the banks and the lenders love this. Who sets the rate at which the mortgages are set? The banks and the lenders. Who sets the federal rate? The Federal Reserve, which is a bank.
They're enslaving people financially. That is the truth. So I want you to think about it like this. Okay, so you own a home.
Like, Brian is sick of this. You could see it in his face. He's just sick of this shit, and so am I.
And you should be proud. That's the American dream, right?
Yeah, what a dream it is.
But if you have a mortgage, are you truly the owner of your own home?
No.
You could think about, you could respond by saying, hell yeah, of course I'm the owner of my own home.
Hell yeah.
It's your home. Well, I would ask you, okay, well, what would happen if you stopped making the mortgage payments?
You get kicked out. But then again, even if you own your home, if you don't pay property taxes and that stuff, you're going to get kicked out of your home anyway. So you never really own anything. It's the government that really owns it, or the banks, I guess.
How long would your home still stay yours if you stop making those monthly payments?
Not long.
Now, if you have a mortgage on rental properties, that's different. You're using debt in a good way. You're getting someone else to pay off your loan for you, and you're building equity. And
this is the thing that people are arguing is like, unmoral. So you're getting someone else to pay your debt, but is that right?
If you have a mortgage on your primary
because people need to live somewhere.
Residence, then you basically have a landlord, which is your lender. So you know that interest, you saw the numbers for yourself. You saw the interest that you're paying on a monthly basis. That's basically you paying rent to your landlord, which is the institution that has claim to your home. Now, do you see how bad this situation is? Do you understand how bad this situation is with?
I hope now we all do. I hope how we can see this is all fucked and we're really in the dark dimension.
Higher mortgage interest rates. If you buy a $400,000 home and you put down 10%, that means that you're getting a loan for $360,000, right? With an interest rate of 6.5%. Over the course of the loan, you will pay $459,492 in interest. The interest ends up being more than the loan itself.
Bruh. And again, I'll use the example of my 500K house thing. The 500K house, we're taking around the same numbers, and I'm just estimating here. The house is 500K, but the interest alone is going to be like 600 something. Like, what the fuck?
You borrowed $360,000, but you will end up paying back $819,492.
Over double of what the house actually costs. Insane.
This is what financial slavery looks like, and this is considering that you're lucky enough to buy a home. And honestly, I'll tell you this. What I showed you is a very generous example.
Yeah, he went under. Remember that. He went under the normal parameters. Like, bro, this doesn't seem like reality anymore. This doesn't seem like any person who sees this or who knows this would let this happen if they have a heart. Like, I don't understand how things are the way they are. It's so sad.
Of the current situation, because
it's so sad.
I didn't include all the other monthly expenses. So imagine that you add in the other monthly expenses. We're talking about property taxes, homeowners insurance,
disgusting.
HOA fees. You can throw in PMI in there if you want.
Gross.
And your monthly payment, it could be over $3,000. And only $325 of that would be going towards paying down the loan. So those numbers, they're just ridiculous. Wow. So seriously, just think about that. Your monthly payments, it could be well over $3,000 and only $300 in
so 10% of what you're paying is actually going towards the price.
Change is going towards paying down the principal.
Disgusting.
Now, I want to show you how this compares to people that got mortgages or refinanced a few years ago when interest rates were at 3%. And I know that some people here that are watching have mortgages under even 3%. So all the variables are the same, except now we're using a mortgage interest rate of 3.0% compared,
which is what it used to be before all this like inflation bullshit,
to 6.5%. And look at the difference. The monthly mortgage payment has fallen from $2,275 to this $1,517.
That's a big
That's
dip.
$758 less a month, simply because the interest rate is lower. And
like, this is the sad part, right? So right now, because the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates and everything, the borrowing rate, the savings accounts are going wild in terms of their APY. So we're seeing like numbers we haven't seen for a long time. We're seeing 4%, 5%. Hell, I'm seeing us inch towards 6%, in saving and money market accounts. And for a lot of people, that won't really make a difference. You know, even though it's a bigger number than what it used to be, it's not going to make much of a difference, except when you get to really high numbers. Like, that could be the difference between a couple thousands of dollars for free if you have a lot of money saved up. But what's the problem? The problem is not a lot of Americans have a lot of money saved up. Over 60% of Americans don't have over $1,000 saved up. So even though these interest rates are high, they're just really benefiting the rich. For the everyday man, this doesn't matter. It's just disgusting. I hate this shit.
when you look at the amort table, it's just so much more reasonable. On a $1,517 mortgage payments, $617 is going towards paying down the loan. In
So
this
almost
scenario,
a third, a little over a third.
$900 is for interest, and you can compare that to $1,950 a month. So I'll tell you this. The banks are getting rich.
That's a really good loop that they did. So let me actually write down the quote he said in the beginning. I already am starting to forget it, so I'm going to write it down, but let's see if I can remember it fully. Things are bad, but they're just getting worse. Okay, I'm just going to like have that there to remember. But anyway, amazing video by Brian. Amazing video. I hope people check him out on YouTube. And, you know, I hope people learn something from this. This is another ray of hope in the dark dimension that hopefully some of us can get out of using this. Hopefully some of us can get out of it. Anyway, let's go next.
Everything that we know about how to study it.
Okay, so this guy, Healthy Gamer GG, Dr. K, this is another guy who I think is really cool. My first experience with him was not so good, though. Like, when I first saw him, I thought he was an asshole because he was trashing gamers. He was saying, like, oh, gamers are this, this, and that, and they're bad, and gamers are bad, this, this, and that. And, you know, he's not wrong, but, you know, even though he's not wrong, it still hurts to hear it. So the first thing I heard from him was, like, you know, something that offended me, because I'm a gamer. But, overall, no, he's a very smart and cool guy. He's a very, very cool guy. He has a lot of, helpful stuff for gamers like us, and just people in general. But this is something where I already remember what it is because I just read the comments. This is where I said this last time, too. I said this in the last video, and finally we have the proof for it. Where, this is where you see, how the human mind operates to be efficient. Because there is a way that most of our brains operate that is actually more efficient than how we think it is. And we're finally figuring out what that actually is, and hopefully Mr. K is going to explain it to us.
Efficiently also works for playing games. So I'll ask y'all a couple questions. Do you do better the first time you fight a boss compared to the second through fifth time?
So this is where, like, oh, and look who he's interviewing. He's interviewing Hasman Golden Emiru. Oh, shit. But this is where, when I actually answered this, I actually said, like, in my mind, like, after the first time is when I started doing better. So maybe I'm just different. I mean, I know I'm different in a lot of ways, but maybe I'm just different with this.
The first time, every single time.
Yeah. Every single time, right? This is like a common pattern. So this means that there's something like we do really well. Like you get the boss down to 20% health and then you wipe. And the second time you go in, you get like two-shotted, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens. The science of performance and all the stuff around learning. I did this with Elden Ring. I actually applied this because I didn't have 4 hours of grind. Right. What I would do is I'd play a boss for like maybe like 20 to 40 minutes.
Oh, shit. Okay, so this is actually... I will admit this, even though I answered, like, you know, no, this isn't, like, what happens to me. I then saw the example of Elden Ring, and I saw my playthrough of Elden Ring, and this is so crazy, because it's actually true for me, for the final boss of Elden Ring, which, you know, spoiler alert, was, Radagon, I believe. It's not Radon, because Radon I cheesed, but, Radagon is the final boss of Elden Ring. The first time I fought Radagon, I got really far, got really close, And then it took me like 3 hours to actually beat the thing. And every time after, I did like worse and worse and worse until eventually I got like skilled enough at the fight to just beat it. But the first time was very, very close.
I'd take a break. And then what happens, especially when you sleep, is all of your learning that happens in short-term memory actually consolidates into long-term memory. And so even when I was playing Radon and stuff, Radagon. Yeah. Right? So what I would do is like I'd play for like half an hour every morning. And then like in 4 or 5 days, I beat it. It was easy. So but like if you play for 5 hours at a stretch, you're going to lose.
Okay. All right. So that's like an actual good way of handling it. All right. That is amazing.
Everything and again, that we know about
I'm gonna relate this. I'm gonna relate this to real life. This is where, especially in my job, they want like peak performance, peak efficiency all day long. But little do they know, according to the science of how we understand people and how we understand the mind, that's actually being more unproductive than anything, because we just don't work like that. We need to take breaks, and at a face value, it's counterintuitive. Oh, why would you take breaks? Why wouldn't you keep working? That's more productive. Just keep working. No, the break lets us be more productive than just straight working. So, it is what it is. I mean, companies won't really listen to the facts. They are just stuck in their ways because they're stupid. And the good companies flourish, and the bad companies, they still stick around. They don't die, even though they don't do what's good. But overall, very nice thing from Dr. K. Very, very nice thing. Let's go next. We're not getting really a lot of Dark Dimension stuff so far. We're getting a lot of Rays of Hope today, which is interesting. But anyway, this guy, I actually have seen this guy a lot recently too, and he's actually pretty cool.
The response to COVID was designed to enhance corporate profit. Inflation was completely intentional, and we have receipts to prove it. So you remember back in 2020...
See, at this point, like, past me, like young me would have been surprised, like, what? No way. The government's doing this? But as long-term viewers of the series might, hopefully have come to the same conclusion I am, this doesn't surprise me anymore. I just expect this now, which is sad.
20, when the stock market did this because of the thing, and that was the excuse for printing trillions of dollars. Yeah, let's follow some of that money and see where it wound up. Ooh. If you remember, we printed all that money because businesses were going to collapse. The economy was going to go under.
Oh, yes.
So did businesses collapse?
Well, we saved
small
them.
Businesses did.
Oh, no.
But it turns out that big businesses and corporations did pretty fucking well.
Yeah, and what is the common quote? What is it? Biggest profits ever? Or, I forgot what it is, but like they've done the best they've ever done, essentially, despite everyone being worse off.
Over the first 22 months of the pandemic, Albertsons' profits increased by 325%. Amazon's by 100%.
I mean, but see, can you blame them? Because I don't know about Albertsons, right? I'm not familiar with that company, but look at Amazon. Amazon is a company that delivers things to your home. If in the pandemic everyone is at home, what are they going to be doing? Ordering things at their house, ordering things to get delivered. So of course Amazon's going to get more business. There are certain businesses that thrived in the pandemic because they directly are affected by it in a positive way. And of course, there's other businesses like fast food that got completely fucked by it because either A, you have to shut down, or B, you're going to have no business because no one's allowed to be out anyway.
You'll notice that most of the big gainers were massive grocery stores whose competition was conveniently forced to close.
Oh,
What's more, you'll notice that on average, their revenue went up by 22% across these brands, but their profits went up by 45%.
Biggest
Why are they
profits
making
ever.
so much more money compared to their revenue all of a sudden?
What a great
That's
question.
weird. Their stock prices also went up by an average of 65%. Guess
So
who held all those
disgusting.
stocks?
Oh,
That's right.
the rich people.
Because poor people don't have enough money to buy.
And this quote he's saying up here is one thing I still like to say, because I think it's important. Just because I speak out against bosses, excuse me, and I said this last time too, and I'm gonna say it again. Just because I speak out against bosses and I speak out against the rich doesn't mean I believe all of them are bad. Most of them are, but not all of them. Which is the same thing this guy's saying too. We can't take absolutes. That's a very important thing that I've learned over life. We cannot be like the Sith. The Sith deal in absolutes. Although I do believe in the absolute that everything changes, but that's one of the few absolutes I will believe in. But yeah, no, we can't go into absolutes of, all rich people are bad, all bosses are bad. You gotta kind of see it from their perspective too. Not one side is completely right and completely wrong.
Stocks. The richest 5% of households captured more than 70% of the wealth gains of U.S. shareholders.
Disgusting.
You'll notice that this graph scale actually starts with that category over there on the left is the entire bottom 50% of the US. And up here, this whole section is actually only 5% of the population. From
Amazing.
January 2020 to October 2021, Jeff Bezos' personal wealth went up by $110 billion.
So in 1 year, or a little over a year and a half, a little over, Jeff Bezos more than doubled his wealth, is what they're telling me. Right? Let me rewind this.
$110 billion.
Oh no, probably not even doubled it, because 110 billion is nothing for him. Let me see what Jeff Bezos is at right now. Jeff Bezos worth. Oh wait, maybe. Oh shit. Okay, never mind. It was more than double. Hold up, it was more than double.
As it turns out, while we were forcing all mom and pop's businesses to close for everyone's greater good, all these mega corporations were recovering just fine. This chart shows the point where the company broke back even with its previous stock price before COVID, and then the gains incurred since.
Look at Chipotle. You guys probably can't see it because it's too small, but the first thing on there is Chipotle that he has highlighted, which is what I'm eating right now.
And you'll notice that companies like Amazon aren't even on this list because they never had substantial losses. They were up only the whole way through.
Wow.
And anyone familiar with the stock market will know that after this horrible COVID crash, what did the stimulus do?
Raise
well,
it back
surged
up.
stock
Yup.
prices into the craziest bubble of our lifetimes.
Jesus.
And you know what all the CEOs and insiders did during this bubble?
They bought.
That's right. They sold here
what?
to make billions and billions of dollars.
Oh, damn.
Right before we all had to pay the bill in consequences.
Oh shit. But if there's one thing I want everyone to take away from this is that the stock market will go back up. So yeah, very interesting video. Wow, this shit is just depressing. We had a little rays of sunshine, but back to the depressing shit. But yeah, no, I love this guy. This guy's really good. Let's go next.
There's literally no.
Oh my god, she's hot.
Nobody talking about this, and it's really weird because
She's
it's kind of a
cute.
big deal. So basically, this ransomware gang called Money Message hacked MSI, and MSI was like, I don't really want to pay you. And so Money Message was like, fine, I'm just going to leak all of your data. And so when we look at that, we can see that they've leaked the intel.
Okay, so the first thing I thought of when she said MSI was Mid-Season Invitational from League of Legends. But, and ironically enough, I just saw the comment here. The only MSI I know is Mid-Season Invitational from League of Legends. So, but when they say MSI, I'm pretty sure they mean the company. The company of MSI is a computer company. So, yeah, they got hacked. This is just to show, again, no one is safe. These big companies that say they can protect you and stuff, they can for the most part, but if someone is smart enough and dedicated enough, they will get to your stuff. I mean, I'll put a little spoiler in for the future here because we're not going to get it in this session. But I sent myself a video recently, either yesterday or before yesterday, about all these major players, big corporations and stuff and governments literally getting hacked by random cyber terrorist groups. And it's like, bro, how does this still happen? How the fuck does this shit still happen where we have such great cyber encryption and cyber security? It's because these people are just so smart and they're not a part of the companies. It's not hard to do these things. Well, it is hard, but you have to be smart for it. But essentially though, it's just crazy. Anything could get hacked. I'm really worried for the things that are not analog. If one day the nukes can get hacked, we're just all done. But this shit is just so scary.
Intel boot guard private key, which basically means that you can't trust any update from MSI, specifically
Ridiculous.
the firmware update, which is actually so fucking crazy. So what this actually means is that a hacker can pretend to be MSI to send you an update through regular update channels on your BIOS that your computer should be getting normally. But really, they're just sending you malware. And there's nothing that anybody can do to stop it because they'll have signed it with Intel's keys, which means everybody already trusts it. Not to mention, the keys are supposedly built into your hardware. You can't change the keys. They can't be revoked and reissued. So yeah,
Wow.
be really cautious installing any new firmware for a while.
This is crazy. This is where they don't have a backup plan, because again, like she said, they're built into the hardware. You can't just reissue them. For all those of you who aren't tech savvy, I really don't know how to explain this in any simpler way, but it's bro, this is actually insane. they can pose as MSI, send you updates as if they were MSI, and you wouldn't know if it actually is or isn't. There's no way to tell. And they could literally just like, you know, not hack your computer, but like put a lot of dangerous shit in there, and you would never even know. This is insane. And you know, a big thing is there's not a lot of people who are that technology literate, even at my job, right? Excuse me. I work with lawyers, which are supposedly really smart people because they go to law school. But a lot of what people don't understand is that smartness can be very much specialized, or it could be very much focused on one area. And you could be a really smart person, but you decide to focus on one area and you don't know about anything else because that's how focused knowledge works. If you're a really good lawyer, you probably don't know anything about anything else because you spend so much time focusing on just lawyer things. That's not to say you're stupid, it's just you only have so much time to focus on so many things. So the people at my job that are lawyers and paralegals and stuff, they don't know anything about computers. They don't know how to make it. They don't know what makes it up. They don't know what a CPU is. They don't even know what a CPU does, right? And I'm pretty sure to all my viewers out there who are gamers, you know, we know all this shit. We build computers, right? Or at least hopefully we do, rather than giving Alienware our fucking money for overpriced bullshit. But you know, this is where knowledge is very specialized and focused, right? So just imagine in the future going forward with AI and all this bullshit and how scary things are getting. Like, bro, how much control or how much things are going on that we just don't know about in our own systems? Like, if MSI could send us an update that we can't change or refuse, and it's through regular channels saying, you know, this is from MSI, and it's not, like, how are we supposed to protect ourselves? One of the main things I'm scared of is just personal safety. And, you know, the other thing is recognizing truth, like if something is true or false. But, like, bro, it's getting harder and harder as technology improves. I don't know what the fuck to do. But anyway, very nice video from a very, very cute girl. Very, very cute girl. Thank you so much, cutie. Mwah.
One of the biggest political movements of the last decade has been the fight for 15.
So this is something where, you know, I'm gonna, hopefully I don't take too much time explaining this, or discussing this, but in New York, 15 is a starvation wage. Federally, I think it's starting to get there. Not 15, but the federal minimum wage right now is like $7.25, I think, or like 7 something, which again, in New York, you'd literally die on that. You would not be able to live at all. But, because that's before taxes. After taxes, that's even going to be less. But, essentially, I don't understand, and, you know, we've beat the, like, dead horse so much, it's like a bag of bones at this point. But, you know, these amounts of money are not enough to live off of. Maybe in some places in the country, the fight for 15, like, you know, if it's 15 federally, maybe some places in the country you could survive off that if you're, like, you know, on your own single, no one else helping you. But a lot of places I feel like you can't, and that's just ever increasing because of, as we've been going over, inflation.
Low-wage workers across the country have staged marches and strikes in their attempt to form unions and raise hourly pay to $15 an hour. As you're probably aware, the current federal minimum wage of just $7.25 an hour is not enough for people to live off of. Wealthy companies like McDonald's and Walmart say that they can't afford to pay their employees a living wage.
They can't afford to, by the way. This is the biggest bullshit. And there's a quote from a president where I'm actually tempted to look it up just to get it because it's such a good quote, right? If a company cannot afford to pay a living wage, then it should not be in business. And that's pretty much along the lines. It was Franklin D. Roosevelt. Here we go. Let me see. Okay, this is way too long. Oh my god, this is really long. Holy shit. Okay, here we go. FDR living wage. Roosevelt pressed on the concept of a living wage in exchange for a 40-hour work week as the means to increase the purchasing power of the industrial worker and farmer. So basically, living wage is, you know, something where you can actually live off it. And he said, I don't know, like, if it's gonna, like, pop up, but... Oh, no, here it is. It seems to me be equally plain that no business which depends for existence on paying less than a living wage to its workers has any right to continue in this country. So basically he says if you're not, like, able to provide your workers with a living wage, not minimum, living wage, then you shouldn't be in business in this country, because that's not what we want to like champion. We want to champion workers that can actually live by working and not be like in poverty and fucking poor, which is what we are today. So if only, you know, this quote and like the meaning behind it was actually instilled into people. Because again, right now we are not living with that mentality. Businesses that pay way less than minimum, that are rich, you know, making literal hundreds of billions of dollars in profit every year, are not paying its workers a livable wage when they easily, provenly could. And it just doesn't make sense in reality why these things are the way they are. But yeah, it was FDR though.
Less known is that Henry Ford paid his workers the equivalent of $15 an hour way back in 1914.
Whoa.
An ironic side note, when the fight for 15 was established in 2012, the value of $15 was higher than it currently is in 2023. If the dollar had the same value now as it did in 2012, it would be called the fight for $19.72.
I don't even make that much money.
In one of the most controversial moves in American business at the time, Henry Ford decided to more than double the wages of his factory workers from $2.25 a day to $5, about triple the prevailing wage for factory workers of that time.
So you know what's crazy? And I kind of remember some bits of this video from when I sent it to myself, but one of the craziest parts of this is when he did this, as we're going to see in this video, I'm going to spoil a little bit here. People called him insane, they called him anti-capitalist, and they called him terrible. And what did we recently see in a video? I think we either recently saw it or it's for the future. Or I think I definitely mentioned it. I think it's in the future, actually. I don't think we saw it yet. But there's a CEO that recently, you know, in our lifetime, like in the past like 10 years or something, raised the wage of his employees to $70,000 a year. And guess what people did? Again, history repeats itself, as I always say. I might title this episode that, History Repeats Itself. Of, you know, they call this guy anti-capitalist. This move is stupid. He's going to like crash and burn his company. This is going to be used as a case study of what not to do in business, like classes in business school. And guess what happened? You know, I said it last episode too, I think. His employees stayed. They were retained for longer. They became better employees. They actually took pay cuts when times were tough to like help keep the company going. And when the company was going, they paid them back. And it was just overall the best thing for the company to do, to pay their workers more. Like, it's insane. And guess what happened? The CEO, who was like getting a lot of money each year, he took the pay cuts to pay his employees more. He took the annual pay of the same as his employees so he can raise their pay up to what his was, which is 70K. Like, that he equalized it at 70K. It's actually insane. Like, these people take the solutions as blasphemy and they blast it saying how bad it is, how it's going to fail. And then when it ends up working, you know, and it repeats, someone repeats it, they do the same thing where they chastise it. It doesn't make any sense. I might name this episode, It Just Doesn't Make Sense, honestly.
He also cut working hours from 9 to 8.
Wow.
In 2023, the value would be $18.67 an hour. It's said that Ford's idea was to turn his employees into customers.
And that is one of the smartest things, and we've heard this before in the videos I've sent. We've heard before that the biggest part of the economy failing is that people are not able to make enough to buy what they produce, right? So let's say you work in a factory, let's say you work anywhere. You do not make enough money to buy what you are making. And if that's the case, most people can't buy the product, and then there's a bubble that's going to pop eventually.
Paying them enough to afford the Model Ts that they were manufacturing.
Wow.
In his autobiography, Ford reasoned, if we can distribute high wages, then that money is going to be spent, and it will serve to make storekeepers and distributors and manufacturers and workers in other lines more prosperous. And their prosperity will be reflected in our sales.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue with success. Within
Except
2
people
years,
still
Ford
do.
Motor Company's profits more than doubled.
Wow.
However, in the immediate aftermath of Ford's announcement, the global business community was outraged.
History literally repeated itself.
The New York Times warned, the theory of the management at Ford Motor Company is distinctly utopian and runs dead against all experience.
Yeah,
The
right.
London Spectator took pot shots, saying Ford was guided by his heart rather than his head. The Wall Street Journal went furthest of all,
wrong.
chortling that the $5 day would only rid Ford of his burdensome millions.
Wow.
And that attempting such a raise was tantamount to committing economic blunders, if not crimes.
Think about this. And who is the people saying this? The news outlets, not the people, the news outlets which control the minds of the people. So they're influencing people to now think, right? Because this is where my media class comes in handy, my media major. This is where now people think, oh, raising prices are bad. If any company does that, that's a bad thing. How the fuck is anyone going to, in any way, shape, or form, try and justify if you raise, or sorry, not prices, if you raise wages, that is a bad thing? Like, oh my God.
2 Ford shareholders were so incensed that they sued. The brothers John and Horace Dodge, whose modern-day avatars were featured in a splashy ad campaign, contended that if Ford had the money to pay out to stockholders like them, it was his responsibility to do so. Ford's defense...
And we've taken that to heart, by the way. The biggest thing when it comes to the companies now is pleasing the shareholder. Not the customer, the shareholder.
Was that it was his company, and if he wanted to invest the company's money raising wages and making cheaper cars rather than paying out dividends, he should be able to do so. Ultimately, Ford's argument lost in Michigan's Supreme Court. The Dodge versus Ford case is still taught in law schools today because the conclusion the court reached so clearly reflects today's prevailing business theory. Nobody is more important than the shareholders.
Big factoids.
As corporate legal scholar Lynn Stout summarized, this case is important because it teaches us a business corporation is organized and carried on primarily for the profit of stockholders. The powers of the directors are to be employed for that end. This was not a federal case, but it summarizes nicely where the American legal system falls on the question of how the labor surplus should be distributed.
For the shareholders.
All for the shareholders, nothing for anyone else.
So basically all for the rich.
In the eyes of U.S. law, shareholders are considered owners, and the fundamental purpose of any corporation is to maximize profits for those shareholders.
Yep. And this is why I always say to people, if you can't beat them, join them, invest in the stock market, because that's how the rich people keep getting richer.
In any dispute between workers and stockholders, it's no contest according to law. This effectively means that U.S. law sees rich people as more important than anyone else.
What a surprise.
Why would I say that? As of 2023, 89% of all stocks were owned by the wealthiest 10% of Americans. Every bit that the bottom 90% holds in 401ks, pension funds, college savings accounts, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds amounts to only 11% of the stock market.
Just think about that. The top percent owns almost, I'm pretty sure it's worse now, but they own almost 90% of everything there. The select few. More and more in a lot of facets of society, I'm seeing this. The top owns so much and everyone else owns so little, even though we massively outnumber them. And I swear to God, I've heard this before, where that is just the recipe for disaster, and it's either the recipe for a nation falling or a revolution happening, which I guess is the same thing, just in different ways. So, yeah, crazy shit. Excuse me, really crazy shit. Let's go next.
This just happened right before our very eyes.
Whoa.
Meet Congressman Jared Moskowitz, who back on February 24th bought shares in the pharmaceutical giant Merck for $109 a share. Just 1 month later, on March 30th, news comes out that Merck, the company he just bought, was rewarded a government contract from the Department of Health. And guess how much that was? A $483 million government contract, which obviously is good news for the stock. Moskowitz is now 8% up on that trade, but that's not the point here. Turns out, Moskowitz literally sits on the Committee of Oversight and Accountability, whose job literally is to investigate and govern politicians to make sure they don't overstep their power. Week after week, I make these videos calling politicians out, but nothing changes. Which is why...
Isn't that a fact? Nothing changes.
I've been building Autopilot, a way for you to copy trade their stock picks automatically. Because I think the more we can highlight the hypocrisy of them trading, the higher chance we have at getting them banned from doing it.
Yep. Again, if you can't beat them, join them. And obviously now this guy is showing hey, do it exactly like them. This is insane. Again, it's just more of the same. I don't even know what to say about this at this point. Except this is really cool. People should look into this. Next.
So here's what happens when
Jeff Jackson,
a member of Congress, gets arrested. Normally, if one of your coworkers gets arrested for a bunch of felonies related to their job, they don't get to just come back to the office the next day. But he did, and it was really weird and a bit of a circus. I can walk around the Capitol and reporters don't chase me down. Not the case for him. It's pretty much a walking press conference for that guy. He hasn't been convicted of anything yet, but the evidence against him is really strong. It's really easy to prove things like wire transfers and spending campaign money on non-campaign stuff.
Oh, corruption, greed. What else is new?
He may be looking at many years in prison, which
he should be looking at life in prison.
Means he's politically toxic.
Actually, no, he shouldn't, because that's going to cost us more in tax dollars.
And members of the majority party don't want anything to do with him, but they also need him because their margin is so thin. He was the deciding vote on a major bill 2 weeks ago. We could expel him. It's a 2/3 vote for Congress to kick out another member of Congress, and many members have called for that, including members in both parties. But that would trigger a special election, and most people agree that the minority party would probably win that election, which would shrink the majority party's margin, which gives the speaker a reason not to allow a vote on kicking him out, at least until he's convicted, at which point I think he probably would be expelled. What this person's going to try and do between now and then is become a martyr. He's going to try and convince people that it's just a witch hunt, that it's all political, and a fair number of people might fall for it, which is strange because it's so obvious who this guy really is.
And just like a lot of things that are so obvious in our society that are wrong, but no one cares.
But these days, even the least convincing politicians are still able to fool a big chunk of the country because of how polarized we've become.
And because of how stupid people are.
And because of how segmented the news media has become in creating all of these echo chambers.
And because of how stupid we all are.
All I'm saying is, let's not be fooled by this guy. Let's all be smarter than that.
Okay.
I hope that's not asking too much. It really shouldn't be. And I'll keep you posted.
Yo, I love Jeff Jackson. But yeah, this just goes to show you, like, bruh, our government, as I've often complained, even in this video, not even just before this video, it's just a fucking clown show of, hey, I'm fighting you, hey, we're gonna do all this extra bullshit politics, and we're not gonna help the main reason why we're here, the people. It is so stupid. But thank you very much for showing us another example of why it's stupid, Jeff Jackson. Thank you very much.
This is the last couple of weeks of...
Oh god, the angry guy. Oh no.
The Russian invasion of Ukraine, if it was a TV show. Like, that's how I'm going to explain it to you, okay?
So
the first thing you need to know is, like, last week, right? A drone hit the Kremlin. All right? The Kremlin is the Russian version of the White House.
Again, this is a little old because, you know, this is from May 10th, but...
Right? And a drone flew up right next to a flagpole on the Kremlin and exploded and burned a Russian flag on their version of the White House.
Wow.
And the first thing the Russians did is they tried denying it, and then everyone's like, dude, we have the video. And then they're like, oh yeah, well, we shot that drone down. And then people watching the video are like, dude, you did not shoot that drone down. You clearly don't have air defenses. That shit reached its destination, and then somebody hit a button and it went pop and burned your flag. And then the Russians like, whoever did this, listen, y'all, we got nukes. We'll nuke the world. And the
Bruh, that's Russia's main reaction to everything. Oh, you fuck with us? Nuke. We nuke you. It's almost like fucking North Korea. Like, that's their main threat every time someone messes with them. Or if they get upset at anything. We have nuke. Yeah, not intercontinental yet, but they're testing it.
And the entire world looked at the Russians and said, if you would have, you could have.
Okay, I don't know if they're saying
you would have already
that.
done it, so shut up. So then the Russians, right, they're just like, shit isn't going well. They're losing troops left and right. They have this mercenary group called Wagner that is run by a crazy person. Right?
Okay, this is where he's actually not wrong. Like, the leader of Wagner, from what I know, this guy is actually fucking insane.
Right? And what this dude does is he goes and he hires prisoners from Russian prisons out in the middle of nowhere. Like
listen to how clown show this is. Now, granted, this has been done before in history, right? They've taken prisoners and made them soldiers because, you know, they have no choice. And they're expendable. But, bro, listen to how it's going to be described here.
Their version of Ohio, right? And he takes these people and he brings them to Ukraine and he sends wave after wave of them at the Ukrainians. And they just get mowed down.
Because
and
they're
this dude keeps
untrained.
losing battles left and right. But here's what his favorite thing to do is, right? He likes to make unhinged videos blaming everyone else but himself for it.
You know what's so funny about this? So this guy, right? I guess his name is Alex Perlman, if this is actually his account. Let me actually check. Is this actually his account? Yeah, this is his account. So Alex Perlman, is he's not even angry in this one. He's usually angry in most of his like rants, but this one I think he's more just like, this is just ridiculous.
He blames the government. He blames the military. He's standing in front of dead bodies going like, this is because they didn't send me enough ammo. This is because of that stupid old man. And everyone's like, yo, who's he talking about, stupid old man? And people are like, yo, is he talking about Putin?
Yes,
and then at one point, this dude said, I'm about to pull out of Ukraine and maybe I'll come to Moscow. And like everyone lost their mind then. Everyone was like, yo, what the hell is going on?
Bro, this guy who's always angry, he's not angry. He's just like, what the fuck? This is so good.
Now, right? Which brings me to yesterday.
Holy
so
shit.
You know how in America, like, we don't have good social services? Because
ain't that a fact?
We spent all of that shit on like war and planes and missiles. The reason that happened is because for the last 70 years, the Russians have this big scary parade every year. And it's this big scary parade where they have all their troops march down the street. They get all their tanks. They get all their missiles.
So it's basically a cock showing.
They got the helicopters flying over. And like U.S. congressmen see this and they're like, we need to go get more money to Raytheon, like right away.
Lockheed and Martin too.
Here though, the Russians.
We need to give more money to Raytheon. So not even in our own, in our own government is it a pissing contest. It's a pissing contest, like, no matter what. You just have to change the scope of how you look. Like, okay, in our government scope, it's the pissing contest of Republican versus Democrat. In the worldview scope, it's US versus Russia on who has the biggest war dick.
Like, they had...
Oh, let's go give more money to Raytheon.
Their big parade, right? First thing, they had less troops than they've ever had in the history of this fucking parade. Like, they held this parade during World War II, and they had more troops because they walked right from the parade into battle.
Damn.
They had like 11,000 troops. Almost all of them were literal kids. Like, they couldn't even grow a beard. But this is the funniest part. Instead of having 30, 40 tanks, you know what they had? They had a tank. A single tank.
Wow.
They didn't have enough tanks. And because of that, the Ukrainians today posted a video of all these burned out shells of Russian tanks that Ukrainian tractors have dragged to their own capital.
Wow.
And in the video, they said, hey, Russia, if you need to find any of your tanks, we have them here. This is the last couple.
Wow. And again, this was on May 10th. So somehow, right? I remember I was at my old job in Rockefeller, that shitty ass place, when like the news dropped that, like, you know, war started between Ukraine and Russia. And over a year later, it's still going on. And so many times I've heard like, oh, you know, this isn't going to last for long. Ukraine is winning. Ukraine's pushing them back. Russia's shitting themselves. Russia's doing so bad. How is this shit still going on? Especially with all the support and the billions and billions of dollars we've sent Ukraine and all the other aid Ukraine has received from everyone else too. I don't understand how it's still happening.
Couple of weeks.
It's crazy. But anyway, very nice video. You know, ironically enough, I like this video more where he's not angry. He's just shocked. He's like, what the hell is this? But very good. Very good video. Let's go next.
I promise to cooperate with the regulators as they do.
Are you planning to return a single nickel to
Oh.
what you cost the fund?
Oh, and what are they talking about? The fund? The shareholders?
I know there's going to be a process review of compensation.
I'll take
and
that as a no. So you're
Uh,
planning to return how much?
The answer is
None.
No.
That's
I'm
it?
not planning to do so, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Right now, the law says that people like Mr. Becker and Mr. Shea can come to Washington.
Yes.
They can lobby for weaker bank regulations. They can load up their banks with risk. They
Yes.
can pay themselves
Yes.
tens of millions of dollars in
Oh, yes.
bonuses and
Yep.
stock options.
Uh-huh.
And when the banks blow up,
Because of their
Mr.
decisions.
Becker and Mr. Shea get to keep all the money. And that is just plain wrong.
Like, bro, even, and again, this is a step in the right direction where even people in Congress are noticing it, even though they probably know it, but they're now talking about it openly. But again, it's a step in the right direction, but what's going to happen from this? Nothing is going to happen from this. One thing I'm very, like, surprised at was Bloomberg Business posted this. I assume that Bloomberg is probably corrupt too. You know, that used to be our mayor. And it's funny too, because he made so much money off Bloomberg, like, you know, the business and stuff, that he paid himself $1 yearly wage for being mayor of New York, I believe, or governor. I don't remember what he was. What was Bloomberg? Michael Bloomberg. Yeah, look, here he is. This was our, who was he? He was the former mayor. Okay, yeah, he was the mayor of New York City. He's 81 years old. Holy shit. And he's worth $94.5 billion. So yeah, he was so rich from his businesses that he literally told New York, all you have to pay me every year is $1. And they did it. They actually paid him $1 every year for his services because he was just so rich. Now, again, a lot of people take that as like, oh, Bloomberg's such a nice guy. You know, he's so nice, this, and that. And no, it's not that he was nice. It was that he really didn't care about the money. He did it more to just flex. But anyway, let's look at his tweet here, right? Global financial system is failing to address the greatest threat to our future, climate change. Oh, people are finally realizing this, right? This is another dark dimension thing where, you know, climate change is becoming a big issue. And a lot of people say we're already past the point of no return for some things. Obviously, we're not going to like straight up die out like that quickly. But a lot of stuff is going to have to change now. And, you know, it's been set in motion to the point where we can't change a lot of things anymore. Or we can't go back on it. But who knows? Technology is an amazing thing. Maybe we can. But in this dark dimension, we probably can't. But anyway, yeah. I'm surprised Bloomberg News posted this. And again, we're heading in the right directions. It's just too slowly. I don't know. Anyway, great video. Let's go next.
Overwatch 2 just canceled their PvE game mode. Today, they released a content roadmap for the next few seasons.
So again, this is pretty much old news, at least at the time of recording this, which is June 22nd. But we're going to go over this.
Includes a few new maps, basic game modes, and a new support and a new tank. You might say, who gives a fuck about the PvE
He's not
story
there
mode?
anymore.
So let me take you through a brief timeline
He does
of
interviews
Overwatch
with
history
me.
and what this means for the future. And please watch until the end before commenting because I'm going to cover a lot. I've been one of the pioneers and biggest content creators for Overwatch 2 before the game was even released. But if you're a longtime fan of the original Overwatch like myself, you would know that they more or less stopped development on the first Overwatch around 2019. And it was during this time that they made promises of a Borderlands or Destiny-styled PvE story mode with unique abilities, upgrades, and a coherent story. Around the start of 2022, Blizzard teased a closed beta for Overwatch 2's brand new PvP multiplayer. It was a fresh revamp of the original game we've loved for years, with the biggest change being the new push game mode and having one tank instead of two, which changed the PvP meta. However, most people felt like this wasn't enough of a change for 2 years of silence, and that Overwatch 2 wasn't much different from Overwatch 1. While Blizzard stated that a majority of their production or time spent working on Overwatch 2 was focused on the PvE story mode as they promised years ago, and that most of their efforts went into that. Overwatch 2 PvP was just meant to give players something to satisfy their hunger while they wait for the much bigger official release of Overwatch 2 and its story mode.
And just to put out a little spoiler here, by the time Overwatch 2 PvP came out, they knew well beforehand that the PvE was done, that they weren't like following through with it because it was like undoable. Like, I don't know why they say like, oh yeah, Overwatch PvP was like meant to hold you over until the PvE came out, which it wasn't, and the developers knew that. Like, they knew it on release of the PvP that yeah, the PvE is never coming. We're just not going to tell them for another 6 months. Or over 6 months, sorry.
Mode. Then Overwatch 2 releases in early October 2022, and that the story mode they had promised is coming very soon and will be finished by 2023. Well, 2023 finally came and Blizzard was silent. Everyone was wondering where this hyped up PvE story mode was at since we have waited almost 5 years since the initial announcement for this game mode to be finished. All of the delays or lack of changes were justified around the promise of the PvE being the main focus. Blizzard was dead silent until today, where they regretfully announced that Overwatch 2 will never be the way they envisioned it. All of the promises they made, they will not keep. Blizzard is only going to make very small story content similar to the most recent Star Watch event. While these game modes are okay at best, these are nothing like what we were promised. Stuff like the unique skill trees, changing every hero's ability with multiple different ways to build a hero is what everyone wanted the most. And honestly, I respect the decision they made to publicly announce this, but this is why you will see a lot of content creators and fans complain within the next few weeks. And rightfully,
they did way more than complain. A lot of them just straight up quit the fucking game.
So, getting rid of the PvE altogether is the wrong move. This isn't fans being spoiled and demanding new content. The promised PvE was the silver lining to everything that went wrong with the release of Overwatch 2. The negative reception of the new game mode, the common complaints of Overwatch 2 not feeling different than the first game, the decline in health for competitive queues feeling like one-sided stomps from either side, all that was able to fall back on the fact that PvE as a game mode was not only going to be huge, but was going to be here very soon after years of promises and priority of resources. As of May 16th, 2023, the promised PvE is canceled. Blizzard also stated that there will be nothing like it in the future either. What we have now is what we get. It's really
I don't even know why I'm acting surprised. I've known all this for like a while.
For anyone to trust or be excited for anything in the future of this game when we now know that Blizzard cannot keep any promises they make. I truly believe Blizzard should still work on this and just release it very, very slowly, if nothing else. But as for the future of this game, there's not much to look forward to anymore.
With everything we've learned about what it takes to operate this game at the level that you deserve, it's clear that
at the level we deserve,
that we can't deliver on that original vision for PvE that was shown in 2019. What that means is that we won't be delivering that dedicated hero mode with talent trees, that long-term power progression.
Look how they're all nodding, like, yeah, he said it, it's out there.
Those things just aren't in our plans anymore.
Overwatch.
Okay, so, again, this is old news for people who are into Overwatch. We all know this, we've been known this. So, people might question, why did I include this? Now, obviously, my main channel is about gaming, right? Most of the stuff here is about gaming, mostly reactions now. I kind of just do gaming on my stream, Twitch TV/Tecnics channel. But, yeah, I would like to think we're all still gamers here, but even if we're not, the reason I included this in the Dark Dimension videos is just to show you that not only in real life are things in the shitter, but also in the gaming industry are things in the shitter. Oftentimes people will say, games are an escape from reality, they're a way for people to like escape all the shittiness of the Dark Dimension. But now look, the Dark Dimension is so dark, it's infected even gaming. And I don't know why I'm saying infected even gaming with this Overwatch thing, because it's long infected gaming. Gaming has been getting worse and worse overall, but, you know, TikTok isn't showing me that, and it's showing me more of reality, which is even more depressing, but that's what we're going to show on this ship. But this is just an example of the Dark Dimension permeating into games as well, where games have just overall, in the industry and the practices in almost every aspect, have gone worse. And why is that? Because of profit and because of greed, always. They really, like, it's really true that money is the source of all evil. It really is. It's so sad. Anyway, really nice video. Let's go next.
Giant American companies barely pay workers enough to survive, and then complain that people aren't buying anything.
And, you know, I'll take this a step further, right? I'll take this a step further to say, like, people barely, like, you know, companies barely pay us enough to live, or at least in New York, not enough to live. And then they expect us to be enthusiastic about a job that no one wants to do, that's monotonous, that's terrible, that everyone realistically hates, and, you know, it's shitty. And then we, you know, have all these stresses in our life financially, socially, because if you don't got money, you don't got bitches, let's be honest. So at that point, you're having a terrible time at your job, you're having a terrible time outside your job because you have no money, and a lot of our life and our happiness is usually decided by that. And they expect you to be happy to go to work, outputting a lot, you know, straight with no breaks, which, as we've seen before in this episode, is not how human beings actually operate realistically. We need breaks and stuff, and lunch break is not enough. So, you know, I just question these companies that if they were in the position at the bottom, would they react the same way they are telling us to? No, they would not, but they don't think of it like that way. The biggest advice I always do, and the way I try and operate my life personally, is I think about the person, and if I were in their shoes, how would I feel? Empathize, right? Because I hope often that people will think about, okay, what if we're in his shoes, right? What if you get 3 to 4 hours of sleep a day, don't eat the whole day, exercise, make little to no money, doing what you hate and are scared to do, don't like doing, and then you have to repeat that for the majority of your life? You know, how would you feel? You wouldn't feel good. And some people, again, have the grit to get out of it. Most people don't. And it's just the way we are, which is sad. Anyway, let's keep going.
Whose fault is that? A single Walmart supercenter can cost between $900,000 and $1.75 million in taxpayer subsidies, or $3,015 to $5,815 average for each of the 300 workers in that store, according to an Americans for Tax Fairness study. The Economic Policy Institute.
You know what's funny about this? Was this the same guy who we saw before? I think it is, actually. We just saw this guy. Hold on. Let me go back.
This is the last.
So here's what.
One of the biggest political.
Yeah, we just saw this guy. Oh shit, I'm not bugging.
Giant American companies barely. The Economic Policy Institute estimates that it costs $45 billion a year to cover the cost of public benefits for the bottom 20% of wage earners, which works out to $400 per U.S. household.
That's
UC
not
Berkeley
a lot
has
of
a
money.
different number, about triple, more than $1,200 per U.S. household.
Seems pretty
That's
realistic.
tax money that goes from your paycheck to the poorest workers in the U.S. who couldn't survive without that help. But in reality, that money's not for the poor.
Who's it
That's
for?
$1,200 you pay every year to maximize corporate profits.
Bruh.
It's a profit maximization tax. Is the answer to cut public assistance to desperate people who can't
Some
afford to
people
feed their
think
children?
so.
Or is the answer to make profitable U.S. companies pay their workers more money so they don't need public assistance?
It seems like there's a really obvious answer here, but it also seems like the obvious answer is the one that's going to get chastised by all the news stations.
I know which route I would prefer. Ironically, Walmart executives in Bentonville's C-suite are secretly wringing their hands about the implications of paying workers so little. In 2014, the Center for American Progress surveyed the SEC filings of America's 100 biggest retailers. Companies are required by law to warn investors about long-term risks to their business.
And let me just take a stab in the dark here. Let me just guess that the long-term risk to their business is guess what it is. We aren't paying our workers enough money, so how are they going to be able to buy what we are selling?
In annual 10K reports. According to the study, 68% of these stores said that flat wages, high unemployment, and low consumer spending were threatening profitability. It's not just retailers who suffer. Even the
I was close. So essentially what they're saying is people can't buy our shit. Not our workers, but everyone. And not everyone literally, but most people.
Executives at burger slinging outfits wake up nights in a cold sweat. Burger King warned investors in 2013, "We believe that our sales, guest traffic, and profitability are strongly correlated to consumer discretionary spending." Translation: we should worry because if people aren't earning enough money, they won't even be able to afford our cheap-ass fast food.
What an amazing layman's terms way of saying that, which, you know, I would likely say now, I think I am right with what I said. If you are not making enough money to buy the things that are meant for regular people, then the companies are going to start to panic and fail, and they're going to be forced, hopefully, to do the one thing they don't want to do, which is pay you more money.
This is self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yep.
Giant American companies barely pay workers enough to survive and then complain that people aren't buying anything. Whose fault is that? This goes back to the lesson of the
Oh, and look who we just saw.
$5 workday. If Walmart employees were paid more, they would probably go spend more money at Walmart.
That's a fact. And I'll tell you this, I would 100% spend more money at Walmart if I made more money, because Walmart is cheap anyway. The one time I was taken to a Walmart in New Jersey, I was fucking shocked. Because number one, they don't let Walmart in New York for God knows what reason. And number two, I mean, it is big business. They're gonna like definitely kill mom and pop stores, but you know, number two, when I went there, I bought so many groceries, and I think the total ended up being like $180, which realistically, if I bought as much as I did here in New York, it probably would have told me like 400 or 500, probably like over double what I bought it for there. It's actually insane how cheap shit is.
Walmart
I was so shocked.
Walmart even has some of the same problems that Henry Ford was having before he increased worker pay.
Wow.
Turnover rates are bananas. Though the company claims only a 44% turnover
Which is still
rate,
high.
roughly 5% a month. It's the retail industry standard.
Oh,
Numbers
lovely.
can vary wildly from store to store.
And this is one thing I want to put forward. Just because it's standard doesn't mean that it should be normal. 44%, yeah, that is what is technically normal, but that's not good. That's not a good normal.
If the Redditors on r/Walmart are to be believed, some locations have turnover rates as high as 167, 193, or even 218%. A store with 218% turnover rate would be replacing its entire staff more than twice a year on average. That
Holy
gets expensive.
shit.
The Center for American Progress estimates the average cost of replacing a $30,000 worker is 16% of their salary.
You know what's sad? I'm kind of close to this, so like, I guess replacing me is not too expensive, huh? Especially for my firm, which makes easily over $100 million a year. Easily.
Adjusting those numbers for low-paid Walmart staff equals about $3,400 per lost employee. If those numbers held up and Walmart does indeed replace 44% of its 1.5 million American employees every year, domestically, turnover costs them $2.2 billion a year, or $187 million a month. Let's face it,
Wow.
increasing pay would get a lot more of those workers to stay.
And again, this is where these companies don't realize that in the long term, this is actually going to save you money. This is going to be better. It's actually insane.
People are willing to put up with a lot if they're well paid.
That is true.
What Walmart does with what Costco does.
Oh.
Costco is a direct competitor of Walmart-owned Sam's Club. In 2017, Costco's average wage was $21 an hour.
That's insane.
After 5 years, even part-time workers get an annual $5,000 bonus check.
Holy shit.
The vast majority of Costco workers, about 88%, get employee-sponsored healthcare benefits.
Wow.
That number is less than half at Walmart.
Wow.
Costco workers pay just 8% of their healthcare premiums, compared to 33% average that Walmart workers pay.
Damn, yo, let's go to Costco.
As a result of these policies, Costco's staff are much likelier to stick around.
And this is where, again, I've said this way before, but I'm going to say it again. And that is that the most important resource you can have, the biggest resource, is not money. It's people. If you get good people, that is more valuable than money because they can help you produce essentially infinite amounts of money. If you get like the right people and good people are the most valuable resource, hands down.
Hourly worker turnover is just 10% a year.
Insane.
That number drops to 6% if a Costco worker makes it past their first year.
That's fucking
Raising wages
insane.
doesn't have to be motivated by altruism. There are practical business reasons to increase worker pay. Walmart's profits, along with Amazon and the dying brick-and-mortar retail chains, would go up if they paid their workers more.
But they don't see that.
Make them pay.
That's sad. But anyway, yeah, this is just showing how stuff in reality just doesn't fucking make sense. There's stuff that logically and historically has been proven to work and it's still not done. Why? Because people have their heads up their fucking asses. Let's keep going. We're getting through a lot of videos today. So here we have a slideshow. So I guess I will go through this. Now I'm a little scared because I know a lot of the pictures in here, sometimes I don't agree with them. So I guess I'll comment on the ones I do agree with, but here, let's see it. So, billionaires, oh shit. Oh fuck, no, I didn't mean to do that. Here we go. Alright, so, billionaires need to stop tax evading and pay taxes. People making $50K a year. See, again, this is what the media has caused us to do. Also, I love this song. This song is so good. Holy shit. Snowfall is such a good, depressing song. But anyway, very cathartic. Anyway, I don't understand how the media and these big corporations have gone to the point where they've convinced us, the low people, the poor people, that like, you know, what the ruling class wants, what they desire, is like what we desire. They've convinced us to basically believe in the things that are beneficial for them, not for us. We've been brainwashed, and it's insane. Anyway, let's keep going. CEO blames remote workers for slow economy. This generation is just selfish. I mean, do I even need to say anything? Michigan woman charged with caring for wildlife without permit. Animals killed by state officials. Oh my god. Holy shit. Elon Musk says remote work is morally wrong, and the people need to get off the goddamn moral high horse with the work from home bullshit. So, I just want to point out that, again, I don't know fully if this is true, but Elon Musk has basically been set up for success from his family, owning, or buying a very piece of profitable land in Africa, and that's how he started his wealth. And when you have wealth starting out, you basically are set up for like the easy path to success. Now, I'm not taking away that Elon Musk is a smart guy. You know, he's definitely a weird guy. He's also pretty smart too. But he was definitely given a very, very high advantage above other people. And also, this is the same guy that wants us to work in the factories for 12 hours a day with no break, just like, quote unquote, he works. He works at least, you know, how many hours a week. So he's like, oh, you know, people should work 12 hours a day. And remember what we said before about the science behind how we work and how we should take breaks? Elon Musk is against science in this instance. So let's go next. Richer graduates in England will pay less for degree than poorer students. Wow. Capitalist. I pay as much as I can afford in this economy, but nobody's forcing you to stay. Voluntarily associate with someone else if you don't like it. Employee, okay, I voluntarily associate with the union. And then the capitalist is upset. Why? Because it affects their pay. Wow. Okay, breaking news. The Florida legislature has sent a bill to Ron DeSantis that would protect private space companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin from lawsuits if their workers are killed in an explosion. And it got passed. Like, I just don't understand. These companies that can obviously pay out, like, if their worker literally dies from an explosion from them, and now they're protecting, they don't even have to do it. It's just the rich protecting the rich's back, man. It's just so stupid. Okay, socialism, anything at all. Critical race theory, please forget slavery ever happened. Woke capitalism, private companies are mean to me. Cancel culture, I can't accept basic accountability. We're just gonna skip this one. I don't want to say anything about this one. Tell employees we can't afford to pay more, brag about record profits. Oh, this is so true. This is so fucking true. Next. Humans doing the hard jobs on minimum wage while the robots write poetry and paint is not the future I wanted. And this is one of the things I always say that's very scary. It's that AI is coming out now, in force, and we're just in the infancy of it, right? AI is going to be a hugely defining thing, but who knows if it's going to be good. And that's the scary part. Like, AI could be so good, but, you know, as I always say, as I've said in past videos, with all this technological advancement that's supposed to make our lives easier, why is it harder than ever? Why are as many people struggling? And there's so much wealth inequality when we're at the apex of technology, you know? There's moments in history where we've dipped in terms of technological development. There's been dark ages where we've actually regressed. But at the point we are at now, we are so far ahead of where we've been historically ever. And we have some of the biggest inequality there is. It honestly just goes down to humans are humans, which is bad. And it's sad. But yeah, hopefully AI does not make that worse. Hopefully it makes it better, but we really don't know. And like I said last episode already, we've seen that the ChatGPT owner has lied about wanting less restrictions on, more restrictions on AI. He actually lobbied the government in the UK or EU to get less restrictions for it, even though he's arguing publicly for more. So, again, more of the usual. Next. I'm so happy AI will finally automate tedious tasks. Yes, the workers are going to have so much free time, right? They'll have more free time, right? See, again, technology makes output go up. You increase the output, you increase the profit. And you do it quicker, so that means, we can have more time because your profit's greater for less time, right? No, you still have to work 40 hours, if not more, to live. And it's like, what the fuck? I like how in the corner here they put made by a human. Because now we actually have to question whether things are made by humans or AI anymore. Next. You know, capitalism is fucked up when baby milk has security tags. So this could be like for a whole bunch of reasons. I mean, the most obvious reason is A, people don't make enough and they need to feed their babies, so they're stealing baby milk. So, what a society we live in. Next. Maybe the problem isn't that you need more coffee, maybe the problem is that you require a central nervous system stimulant to robotically sustain a constant work output, which again, this whole episode we've been talking about is not good and not realistic, so that you can conform to unrealistic capital standards of labor and maintain profitability to corporations. So I haven't mentioned it yet this episode, but I finally will. And I swear to God, reading that made me feel like a conspiracy theorist. It made me feel like fringe. But again, the more hopefully I'm showing and the more I hear about this stuff, it's not as crazy as I thought. In fact, everything else just seems crazy in general. The fact that all this stuff is allowed, the fact that it is the way it is, society confuses me, and it's very sad. Capitalism made your iPhone. No, labor made your iPhone. Labor makes things under any ism. The isms just determine who gets paid. That's very true. Hate when a job asks you to set goals. My only goal is to remain employed so I can continue to pay for my living expenses while finding fulfillment in the areas of my life unrelated to a day job. That's very true, and it's sad. Again, more sadness, right? A lot of people will just have a job so that they can get by through life because they need to have one, right? And it's usually, for at least, arbitrary number here, 90% of us are going to hate our job. We're not going to like it, right? And the worst part is we need it. And we're not even making enough now to even get by. Like, even for stuff outside of our day-to-day, like, you know, regular job, we have no time outside of that, because either we have to get a regular, you know, another job on top of the first one, or there's just simply not enough time in the day through commuting and working long-ass hours. And this is one of the biggest bullshits. The 8-hour workday for a lot of places is not the 8-hour workday. It's that you're gonna work for 8 hours and take lunch for another one, so it's a 9-hour taking your time day. On top of commuting, which, you know, I'll use me and a lot of other people I know, is about an hour. So an hour to go there, an hour to come back, plus 9-hour workdays, that's almost half the day. Almost half the day is gone. Then when you get home, you have to do other stuff like chores, cooking, cleaning, or whatever. Unless you have someone doing that for you, in which case you're blessed. But, you know, most of your day is not your own anymore. More and more, again, production is highest it's ever been, profits are highest it's ever been, but more and more we have less money and just less time to ourselves, even though things have improved technologically. It doesn't make any sense. Next, the cheapest food you could possibly make. Amazon slammed for treating its workers to grilled cheese. When Amazon workers sparked a joke-riddled online backlash after claiming that the trillion-dollar tech company handed out grilled cheese sandwiches to its employees. Yeah, like, honestly, they couldn't afford better, bruh? Like, holy shit. Leaked internal data shows that train workers are quitting en masse to protest railroad giant BNSF's extreme new time off policy. The policy eliminates, oh, and get this part, all time off, including weekends, except 1 day per month. And guess what? When you quit, or when they try and, like, have the union fight them, what happened? I don't know for this railroad company, but for the other one, if it's not the same one, because I don't know what BNSF stands for, they went to Biden and they made it illegal. They made it illegal to protest and to unionize. Well, not to unionize, but to protest. Like, if it hurts the corporate profit, you can go to jail, which is just ridiculous. Anyway, that was the last one. So anyway, very nice little slideshow. Very depressing, but very nice song. Let's go next. I'm going to try and get through a lot of these as possible.
The Brazilian meatpacking conglomerate JBS bribed government officials to sell rotten meat. JBS, which owns 25% of America's meat processing, sold rotten meat that they masked with carcinogenic chemicals and acid. Investigators discovered the rotten meat in March of 2017 and said that the practices had been going on for years. JBS paid off at least 33 officials to get away with this. And only a few months prior to this discovery, the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service Administrator, Al Alamanza, helped
Yeah, he definitely looks like he inspects the food all right. A little too much, if you ask me.
overturn the USDA's 13-year ban on Brazilian beef imports. After investigators discovered the rotten meat, the FSIS allowed JBS to continue selling their meat to the United States for 3 months. Alamanza and the FSIS said no rotten meat entered the United States, and
Yeah, I guarantee you they're lying.
Brazil's safety measures were up to code. However, the advocacy group Food and Water Watch disagreed and said that nearly 70% of sampled Brazilian beef factories contained strains of Listeria as an example of the safety concerns.
Bro. Also, did our music, like, bug out? What the fuck just happened? Oh, no, it didn't. Okay, we're just at the beginning. Huh.
Even if JBS's rotten meat did not enter the United States, Alamanza and the FSIS should not have continued supporting JBS for 3 months because of their illegal bribing, practices, and safety cautions. When USDA finally suspended JBS and Brazilian beef imports in June, Alamanza retired within a month. And within a week of his retirement, JBS hired him to be their global head of food safety and quality assurance. And during his tenure with the FSIS and USDA, JBS saw a dramatic rise in their control of America's meat processing. One wonders whether JBS paid him off when he was still at the FSIS, given his actions and how quickly he was hired by them following his resignation. Well, this
Oh yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious what it was. They definitely did.
story happened 6 years ago, the issue is still very relevant. Brazilian beef imports were approved a month before COVID hit, and they now control 25% of America's meat processing.
Insane.
And this is one of many reasons why you should buy American beef directly from ranchers.
Yo, look
and
at those
producers.
American
And you can
cows.
find these places using my farm app. The Brazilian
This is just insane. Like, I don't even know what to say with this anymore. I honestly don't. Like, there's so much corruption. There's so much blatant corruption. And again, I am flabbergasted. I am just amazed. Like, how people know this, how people can see this and not want someone's head. I honestly don't understand it. Anyway, really nice video, really depressing video. Let's go next.
Wall Street is suppressing...
Oh, look, it's this guy again. Scott Bennett.
...your wages. A 2013 demo study found that Walmart could raise hourly wages for its workers by $5.83 an hour.
So you can see now that we're sitting down and getting through a lot of the videos, we're hitting a lot of the same themes again. From separate creators. Which again, helps me realize I'm not too conspiracy theorist after all. Or maybe I'm just getting fellow conspiracy theorists, who knows.
...hour without raising prices at all. All the company would have to do is stop buying its own stock.
Whoa.
Walmart spends about $7.6 billion every year just buying Walmart stock.
Wow.
Companies frequently buy their own stock to remove it from the marketplace. Basically, they're taking those imaginary stock certificates and burning them to decrease the overall supply and drive up the value of the remaining stocks. Before 1980, this practice was illegal. Letting a company buy its own stock so that it could be destroyed used to be outlawed because of the fear that executives would use this process to manipulate stock prices, which is precisely why it's happening today. How common are stock buybacks? Between 2009 and 2018, U.S. companies spent about $4 trillion buying and burning their own stocks.
See, at this point in time, people like this guy give us metrics like, oh, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars or 4 trillion, this and that. I don't really fully understand of the weight of these numbers anymore, because one, I hear them so often, and two, the numbers are ever increasing. Again, look at BlackRock. BlackRock has now, like, well, not now, but recently hit 10 trillion in assets owned or managed, right? So money's just going to keep going up. The amount of money in the world is just going to keep going up because now it's imaginary. It's off the gold standard, right? So these numbers getting larger and larger, they're having less of like an effect on my mind personally of like, oh, you know, 4 trillion. Like if you told that to me when I was younger, I'd been like, wow, that's an insane amount of money. And it still is, but it doesn't hit as hard anymore because again, I'm desensitized to it.
According to hedge fund owner Chris Cole of Artemis Capital, stock buybacks accounted for 40% of total earnings per share growth since 2009, and an astounding 72% of earnings growth since 2012.
Wow.
One of the primary drivers of the last decade's bull market was stock buybacks. U.S. companies announced $171 billion in buybacks just in the first 6 weeks of 2018. According to Bloomberg estimates, Walmart repurchased about $36 billion of its own stock over 4 years.
See, I don't know if that's a lot or a little to them anymore. I don't know what these numbers mean. I don't recognize their value anymore.
As a Demos report notes, Walmart's stock buybacks did nothing to boost Walmart's productivity or bottom line and had no direct benefit for Walmart's customers or frontline employees.
You know who it had a benefit for? The shareholders.
This is putting things mildly. Stock buybacks don't help anyone but the shareholders.
Wow.
The richest people in the country. Stock buybacks don't add value to our national economy.
They don't.
They are an investment in inflating stock bubbles. Money that could be spent productively on employees or stores or building things is just burned to make the rich richer.
Yup, everything. At this point in time, our country, everything is done to make the rich richer, bruh.
It's absolutely sick. Other countries aren't making this mistake.
Yeah, and other countries aren't rich as us. You know, it's a trade-off. And look who controls the world. I'm not going to say it's the US, but we all know who's really in control of most of the things in the world. Who has the big stick in the world? The country that's in the most debt and that, you know, does the most shady shit, aka us. Excuse me. Anyway, really nice video. Let's go next.
That's that new shit that came out that keeps you high.
Okay, so this shit right here, this shit is fucked. So I haven't had the, I guess, lovely experience to actually see this in real life yet. But oh my god, once we see what this shit is, like, again, history is repeating itself, bruh.
For a very long time.
It's called Trank, animal tranquilizer. They're putting into drugs now.
I'm surprised this lady's interviewing like these homeless people because a lot of them like are kind of dangerous. Or maybe that, I mean, I don't want to say that because I don't know them, but it's like, I guess that's the stigma surrounding them. Like, stay away from homeless people. It's honestly really sad too because a lot of these people are still people. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure they don't want to hurt anyone. It's just the way we perceive them through like society now, especially in New York, is again out of sight, out of mind, or even in sight, out of mind. as I've said with my famous example of the homeless guy literally like just sprawled out in the middle of the sidewalk and no one called the police, no one did anything. That guy could have been dead and no one cared.
You do too much of it, it take your breath, your air. You seen one guy down, thought he was dead.
Hey, look, that's in New York.
Also known as xylazine,
I know where some of these places are because I work near here.
is an animal tranquilizer
Look
proven
at this.
deadly for people.
Look at
and it's
this.
making its way across American cities.
Bro.
Eastern it is anywhere else.
Worst epidemic that I've seen, heroin epidemic. That was even worse. We had females selling their daughters, people selling their bodies. But now I'm seeing people doing all kinds of crazy movement.
Yep.
That's just a person that got a mental problem. You can't blame that on no drugs.
I think it's a harder drug than crack.
They're calling it a zombie drug and a silent
Look at
killer.
them.
Walking around with no shirt on in the middle of winter time.
Drugs are getting crazier.
Make it go real crazy, real fast.
37 buried on these streets for almost 30 years.
So this guy is 37 and he's been on the street since he was 7. Jesus Christ.
Some people that's homeless go around
Oh my God.
Some robbing, some that panhandle, some that abuse drugs. You go to the neighborhoods, our neighborhood.
That's New York right there. You know how I know? The fucking MTA, the lovely, lovely MTA right there. Also, look at the first comment. I just realized that dude's been on the street almost 30 years and he's 37.
The ghettos, that's where you see stuff like that.
Good luck, man. Thank you.
That's that
I
new
hope they gave that guy some money. But yeah, like, bro, I don't understand how these people who are homeless and are wasting everything on drugs, how they're still surviving. Like, I guess this is where it goes into, you know, public assistance and stuff. So maybe I shouldn't be too scared if I get homeless, because Lord knows, I hope I'm smart enough to never do trank. But, you know, if I'm homeless and I'm not, like, spending all my money on drugs and selling my body and my daughters, if I have any, on drugs, then hopefully I'll be, like, in a better position than some of these guys. Like, Jesus, how does this guy live on the street for 30-something years? I mean, honestly, it is a skill. Like, it is definitely a skill to be able to live with, you know, no job and being homeless. It's not easy, but Jesus Christ. And look, yo, this comment said it too. He's been on the street since he was 7. Next. Senators heard testimony about the realities of AI. Oh, yes, AI! My favorite topic. These are the most interesting and concerning things said under oath. In 90 seconds.
My worst fears are that we cause we, the field, the technology.
So again, this is Sam Altman. I believe this is the guy that, again, in everywhere basically said like, oh, we need more regulation against ChatGPT, against AI. And again, behind everyone's back, behind closed doors, he argued and lobbied, and we all know what lobbying means. It means moolah, paying off, the UK or EU government, I forgot which one, to basically make it less restrictive.
The industry caused significant harm to the world. I think that could happen in a lot of different ways. It's a big part of why I'm here today. I think if this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong.
Bro, like, it's crazy to think, like, during this time, right, before we knew, like, he was being, you know, he was bribing people, essentially, that, you know, he seemed genuine, but looking back at it with the silver lens now, and seeing, like, the truth, like, it's crazy. He's just lying here.
And we want to be vocal
as far
about
as
that.
I know.
We want to work with the government to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, you want to lobby the government, you fucking asshole.
We are quite concerned about...
Oh, are you? You're quite concerned how to make more money from this, probably.
The impact this can have on elections. I think this is an area where hopefully the entire...
He's not wrong, though. Even though he's an evil guy and he's doing it for wrong reasons, you could still be right while being wrong.
Our industry and the government can work together quickly. There will be an impact on jobs. We try to be very clear about that, and I think it will require...
Yeah, and guess what? A lot of jobs are gonna, like, be taken away from us, and we're still gonna be expected to, like, somehow get more jobs. Even though there's more of us than there are jobs.
Partnership between the industry and government, but mostly action by government to figure out how we want to mitigate that.
So he's putting it on the government.
The most important...
Which we know they're not gonna do shit.
Important thing that we could be doing and can and should be doing now is to prepare the workforce of today and the workforce of tomorrow for partnering with AI technologies.
I swear to God, like, this is gonna be mad dystopian, and this might really show, like, my personal flaws and stuff. But I also will chalk this up somewhat to society. I feel like we're very, very close to eventually just getting AI assistance, because we've already seen the starting, like, processes of it, where in a job where, like, there was a help desk, right? They fired the whole help desk department and just replaced it with an AI that can help people. Now, I don't know if it was successful or not, but I feel like we're closer to just eventually having like therapists and like occupational people like that, social workers that are just AI. I feel like eventually in our lives we're gonna have personalized AI just for our mental health, just to like have friends or something, because we're going through a lot of issues socially. We're isolated, we're lonely. I fully expect soon in the future we're gonna literally have AI companions with us that are like in our smartwatch or maybe embedded in our body at that point. And honestly, with the way society is and the way it's been going, I'm not honestly too against it. I mean, obviously it could be abused. They could be like trying to like sell us stuff like subconsciously. They could manipulate it to only tell us certain things or act a certain way or influence us in certain ways to control us. I don't put it past the government. But at the end of the day, I would not mind having my own personalized AI that I could talk to and have it do things for me. I personally, honestly wouldn't. I actually think it's a good thing as long as it's not abused, but in this dark dimension, it will be abused. But imagine if it wasn't. Like, you get up and you just have your own personal AI that you could just talk to, have a conversation with. Maybe they have their own personality. Maybe they've reached sentience or damn well near it. I honestly think that'd be pretty cool. And why is that? I'm really lonely. I mean, look at what I'm doing. I've been in my room for like 2 straight hours over just reacting to TikTok, so definitely wouldn't mind having an AI to talk to.
I worry that as the models get better and better, the users can have sort of less and less of their own discriminating thought process around it. People need to know if they're talking to an AI, if content that they're looking at might be generated or might be.
So we need to know if it's like fake or not.
I think we also will need rules, guidelines about what's expected in terms of disclosure from a company providing a model. As this technology advances, we understand that people are anxious about how it could change the way we live.
Oh, yes.
We are too. We believe that we can.
No, you're not. No, you're fucking not. We found out you're not, you asswipe.
Can and must work together to identify and manage the potential downsides so that
no decisions were made.
We can all enjoy the tremendous upside.
Yeah, because he didn't lobby them enough. He lobbied Europe enough. Oh, Jesus Christ, that was loud. But anyway, yeah. Scary ass shit coming in the future with AI. Scary, scary shit. Let's go next.
Here are the 24 biggest things that happened this week in artificial.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're actually not going to go next. I'm going to cap it off here. We're finally up to the AI episode, yet again for real this time, I hope. But we're going to experience that in the next episode. So, I think we sat down, we got through a bunch of videos, a bunch of good videos. May 15th, 16th. No, that's still May 15th. Shit. Okay, now we're up to May 16th, 17th. Okay, and we made it right here. Wow, we actually did not do as many videos as I thought. Yeah, no, we kind of did, but we kind of did. Damn, yo, I take so long for these shits. Holy shit. But anyway, yeah, so we're gonna leave it right here. This is the video we just did. Bada bing, bada boom. And that's basically the episode. So, I hope everyone enjoyed. Again, this is really going to change nothing for the viewing side, but for the recording side, I'm going to record more probably tomorrow. But anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed this. And again, I stream live at Twitch TV/Tecnics channel. You can come discuss and ask me anything over there and watch me play games. Anyway, that's it. Eat.